Hey,
Hey,
hello. I'm back. I haven't streamed in a really long time, so forgive me if I'm like really bad at this again. Um, but I'm just gonna go over all of the Age of Sigmar 4th edition faction focuses that they've put out so far. Because in the in the period of time that I haven't really streamed much, I've gotten really into Warhammer, um, much to the hatred of my bank account. So I'm just gonna go through all these and just casually read them. I'm a casual player, not a tournament player or competitive player or anything. So I'm not going to be really giving like that kind of perspective about any of them. I'm kind of just giving it in the terms of like, do these sound fun? I also don't play every army and haven't played every army, so I don't have like the perspective of what every third edition army has been like so far. But it's it should be fun. I like to think that I have at least enough knowledge to be able to kind of know what I'm talking about. I've been playing Age of Sigmar for like 2 years or so, anyways. So hopefully, sorry, I'm just sending out messages. I like to think that I have at least enough knowledge to be able to kind
hopefully
of
I've
know
been
what
playing
I'm
it long
talking
enough
about.
that I have
I've been
some
playing
kind
Age of
of like
Sigmar for like 2 years or so, anyways.
knowledge about the
So,
game in general.
hopefully,
Obviously, with 4th edition, everything's changing around too.
sorry, I'm just sending out messages.
So it'll be like relearning everything again. It seems like so far that they're trying to
Hopefully
like
I've
make
been
it
playing
like
it long enough
10th
that I
edition,
have some kind of like
40k is, where it's a lot more simplified
knowledge about the game
versus
in
what it
general.
is right now.
Obviously, with 4th
Which
edition, everything's changing around too.
take that however it
So
is, but
it'll be like
yeah, I mean, it
relearning
is a great
everything
time
again.
if you're getting
It seems
in
like so
now,
far that
because
they're trying
everything's
to
going to
like
be more
make it like
simple and
10th
everybody's going to be
edition,
learning at the same
like
time
40k
versus
is, where it's
like 3rd edition right now, where everybody that's been playing it for a really long time already knows what all is going on, and it wouldn't be like the best to kind of learn in that environment. But I mean, if you're playing casually, anyways, I guess it doesn't really matter because you just be playing with friends versus like anybody actually that's trying to just whoop you, which some people's friends definitely still do, but that's totally. I don't know how loud this music should be. I don't want it to be like silent behind me, but I also don't want it to be too loud. I don't know what I'm doing. It's been too long since I've done this.
It's been too
It's
long
fine.
since I've
Who
done
cares?
this.
If
Fine.
it's
Who
too
cares?
loud, people will let me know.
If
I'm
it's
sure.
too loud, people will let me know. I'm sure.
I'll just ask if anybody comes and hangs out.
I'll just ask if anybody comes and hangs out.
I'm just gonna put it at like this level and turn my headphone
like
down a little bit because I
turn
think
my
that's.
headphone down a little bit. I think that's.
It looks like I'm way louder than that.
It looks like
but
I'm
it could
way
also
louder than that.
that could be
But
misleading.
it could also that could be misleading.
I'm out of practice.
I'm out of practice.
But I don't. Is that? I hope that's fine. I just got some like royalty-free music playing. I don't really know what the hell's going on. Also, ignore my hair being really long. I need a haircut, but I just haven't. I've ignored that, so it's fine. Okay, I don't really know what else to say before I just start doing this. And there's also 19 of them that I want to read today. Hey, Bean Juice, how are you? What is happening with this? Why is the chat box not appearing? Does that fix it? No? There it is. This needs to be towards the bottom then. Hi, Bean Juice. I'm just going to start doing the faction focuses now because I don't really have anything else to say. Is the music too loud? How's the music volume compared to my voice? I'm a little out of practice, and I've never... That's fine. I'm just happy anybody's coming and hanging out and looking at these silly things with me. Is the music volume good? I hope it's not... I'm a little out of practice, and I've obviously never just kind of had background music. I'm usually playing a game, so this is also a little bit different for me. But as long as it's good, it's... Okay. As long as it sounds good to you. I'm sure if anybody else comes in, they'll tell me, like, oh, it's too loud, or it's weirdly quiet, but it's fine. I don't care. Okay, I'm going to start these because there's 19 of them, and I don't know how long it's going to take for me to read each one of them. So we're just going to, I'm just going to jump in. So the first one is the Stormcast Eternals, which one of my very good friends plays. So I'm relatively aware of what they do right now. I've never played them, so I don't have the experience of that kind of thing. But one of my friends in my playgroup plays Stormcast and has since we all started playing. They're like they don't like
being compared to Space Marines, but they're basically just the Space Marines of Age of Sigmar. They're just the big, bulky gold or silver, I guess sometimes now. So just big, bulky armored guys that are all lightning and get like zapped down onto the planes of existence to fight dudes for Sigmar, the god. Hence the name, Age of Sigmar. But anyways, this is really cool, like grouping the models. But basically, for them, so in Age of Sigmar, every faction gets battle traits, which are kind of like your army rules. So everybody's gonna have like this page where it's a bunch of different stuff that faction specifically gets to do. So there's during your deployment phase, you can use the Celestial Realm, where if there are more friendly Stormcast Eternal units on the battlefield than there are set up in reserve, you can pick a friendly unit that has not been deployed. And then as an effect, you can set that unit in reserve in the Celestial Realm, and that counts as being deployed. And then I think that goes into this one, Scions of the Storm, which then you pick a friendly Stormcast Eternals unit that's in the Celestial Realm, so the one that you put in using the other ability, and you can set that unit anywhere on the battlefield more than 9 inches away from all enemy units. So it's basically, if you've played like 40k, which is the much more popular one, if you've played that, it's basically just Deep Strike, which basically you're just setting up to try to charge your opponent. So like when you charge something in Warhammer, basically what you do is you roll 2d6, and then whatever result you get, your guys can move that farther, closer to an enemy unit. But you have to get within, in this, I think in 4th edition they've said you have to get within 3 inches, because that's the combat range of everybody. But you have to get within combat range of them. So in like 40k, that's base-to-base contact or half an inch or something like that. Age of Sigmar 3rd edition, everybody had different combat ranges relatively, but I think you had to get within a half inch for the charge to go off. But basically what this is doing is you can set them up anywhere on the board, or just as long as they're 9 inches away from all the enemies, which then, sets you up for a 9-inch charge, which is pretty hard. You don't have like the best chance of doing a 9-inch charge, but it's not bad. And also, you can throw them in your enemy's back line or something like that, which, if you're trying to capture a point in the backfield or something like that, it's pretty good for that kind of thing, which, from everything I've seen, Sigmar 4th edition has a lot to do with like control scores and capping objectives more than anything else.
From everything I've seen,
so that's like not bad. I don't think that's particularly
Sigmar
bad.
4th edition has
like,
a lot to do with like
Deep Strike is pretty good. It's pretty good to have on units.
Else, but
I've never had an issue with it.
I don't think that's
40k. There's obviously a lot more of it than there is in Age of Sigmar, but and then they get a once per battle command ability, so it costs 1 command point. In your movement phase, so it has to be done in their movement phase. Pick a friendly, non-unique Stormcast Eternals infantry or cavalry unit that started the battle with 2 or more models and that has been destroyed to be the target. Set up a replacement unit with half the number of models from the target unit, rounding up more than 9 inches from all enemy units. So that's pretty good. You just get to bring back half of any kind of infantry or cavalry unit. Which, I mean, that can be pretty swingy, I guess, if you have, like, a really big, tough unit. Like, things come in certain sizes, but in Age of Sigmar you can reinforce them, which basically just doubles the size of it. So, like, if you bring a unit of 10 dudes, you can reinforce that unit to be 20. So that ability is really good with, like, if you reinforce a unit, because then you're basically just getting the regular-sized unit back. It is once per battle, which does kind of suck. And it does cost a command point, which also kind of sucks. But that's not, like, that's fun, though. It's thematic. Like, they come back from lightning or whatever. And then their last one is once per turn in your hero phase. So you can't do this in your opponent's hero phase. You use their finest hour, where you pick a friendly Stormcast Eternals unit that does not use this ability this battle to use this. And then for the rest of the turn, you add 1 to wound rolls for that unit's combat attacks, and you add 1 to save rolls for that unit. Which is pretty good. It makes things more survivable for a turn, and makes them more killy if they have, like... obviously, you can't go below 2+ to wound, but if they have, like, if they're usually, like, 3 or 4 to wound, that's, like, a pretty significant jump. And then also the save rolls also is pretty good, especially since Rend is going down comparatively from 3rd edition to 4th. So, that's pretty good, especially, like, once per your turn. That's not bad. And then every faction is also going to get battle formations. It sounds like most are going to get 4, if not all are going to get 4. But they basically just work like sub factions, or if you're used to playing 40k, like detachments. It's kind of that same deal. Um, but they're showing off one battle formation for everybody, and then it looks like there's going to be these other 3. But the one they're showing off is Sentinels of the Bleak Citadels, which once per turn, and you're in any hero phase, so you can do this. You're doing this every turn. So every round of Age of Sigmar is split into 2 turns, your turn and your opponent's turn. So any hero phase means you can do this on your turn and your opponent's turn. Obviously, vice versa. If it specifically states it has to be on your turn. But this one, you use once per turn, any hero phase. You pick a friendly Ruination Chamber unit, and that unit has a 5-up ward for the rest of the turn. That makes it like pretty significantly more survivable than if you were to not include that. So like a ward is nothing to scoff at. It's like I don't know. I've read some of these, and it seems like a lot more. Like a lot of things are getting a ward, but a lot of things had a ward last edition too. We'll just have to see how everything shakes out because I know damage numbers are going down and like mortal wounds and stuff are going down. So we'll just have to see how much that actually significantly changes things. But a ward of 5+ like isn't bad. And every turn, every hero phase, you get to pick a new one, which I don't think that's particularly bad. And then this is going to be the spell or this is a prayer they showed off. Excuse me. Basically, there are priest units in Age of Sigmar. Each of them can chant a number of incantations or prayers that it's going to say somewhere on their war scroll like priest, and then it'll have a number to it, and that's how many prayers they can chant. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to roll a d6, and then that adds to the I forget what it's called, the chanting value or the chanting score. You can either save that if it's not high enough to use the prayer right off, or if you want to use, it looks like what they're now doing is that every prayer is going to have like a weaker version and then a stronger version. So if you want to save it and try to get the stronger version later, you can also just hold on to it. But this one, you pick a friendly Stormcast Eternals priest to chant this prayer. Pick a visible friendly Stormcast Eternals infantry unit wholly within 12 inches of them to be the target, and then make a chanting roll. So it goes off on a 6, so you need to get a 6 on the d6. So you're probably not doing this. You're probably not doing this round 1, unless you're just hot on the roll. But the effect, you add one of the attacks characteristic of the target's melee weapons until the start of your next turn. If the chanting roll was a 12+, this ability affects all visible Stormcast Eternals units wholly within 12 inches of the chanter. That's pretty good. Adding one to the attacks, especially on like some big like hammer unit with like a very massive high damage weapon, that could be very significant, an extra attack each. So I don't think that prayer is that bad. Saving up for the 12 might take a little bit, but if you have that priest like in the middle of a bunch of dudes, that's going to be kind of devastating, especially if those dudes have like pretty good melee profiles, which Stormcast have always been pretty decent in melee, so I don't think that'll change. And then we're going to look at some units. They are always showing off like a handful of units, typically like a big centerpiece model, and then like a couple other smaller things is basically what the theme tends to be, it seems like. So Krondus being the first one. That's this guy, this big like dragon guy. He's kind of cool. I don't know what he does in the lore, but his model's really cool. He's really big, like especially compared to these guys. He's a nice centerpiece. Like the Stormcast have a lot of really cool centerpieces, though. Like obviously being the pseudo Space Marines of the faction, they tend to get a lot more models than everybody else. But like, so they have like a bunch of really big, cool models. But yeah, I don't know. Cronus is cool. So he's going to move 12 inches. He's got a 3-up save, 5 control score, and 20 health. That's pretty good. Pretty survivable. 20 health and 3-up save is pretty hard. Does he have a ward? He does not have a ward. But you can... Can you give him a ward with the thing? Or that's specifically Ruination Chamber? I don't think he's Ruination Chamber. Yeah, no, he's not a Ruination. So you can't give him the ward from that. But there's probably going to be other spells and stuff that he can get a ward with. Make him even more annoying to kill. He's got a ranged attack. It's 1 attack, hitting on 2s, winning on 3s, Ren 2, and then D3 plus 3 damage, and you can shoot it in combat. That's pretty good. one attack isn't the best, but the damage characteristic on it's pretty high, and you can shoot it in combat. So that's just like an extra attack if you try to. You can't just bog him down with infantry units just so he can't shoot anything. So that's pretty decent. If he's battle damaged, his Apex Maw goes down 2 attacks. So his Apex Maw, 4 attacks, 3s and 2s, 2 rend. 4 damage is hard. That's hitting pretty hard. Hi, Dawnstar Video Games. What hype? And then he's got anti-infantry +1 rend. So basically, if he's fighting an infantry unit, he's gonna be even more successful at killing it. A lot less stuff. There's not save stacking in Age of Sigmar 4. That's like a thing they've tried to get rid of. So it used to be that like you could pretty much ignore rend by using multiple abilities that would stack like +1 save, +1 save. Oh, thank you so much, Dawnstar Video Games, for the subscription. I appreciate and love you. Thank you so much. But so it used to be that you could use multiple different save stacking abilities. So you could use like +1 to save, and then like a unit would have a +1 to save, and then another unit near them would have +1 to save. So you were just like basically just becoming this unkillable, massive ball of death. But they're trying to get rid of that now, so there's not nearly as much save stacking. I think they've even said you can only improve a characteristic by 1. You can't like stack a bunch of stuff on top of it. Hello, Aurora. How are you this afternoon? So Ren is even more important now because you're not going to be able to just flat out ignore it. So the +1 rend on infantry just means it's rend 3. So if you have anything other than like a 2-up save, you're basically not getting a save while this guy tries to fight you. It's going well, Aurora. I'm glad to hear this going pretty good. So that 4 damage really hits, especially with 4 attacks. He's basically just going to cleave through any infantry that he's near. And then his secondary attack even too. 6 attacks, 3s and 2s, 2 rend is nothing to scoff at either, and 2 damage also isn't. I think he's going to be pretty gnarly in melee combat, which you would kind of hope from like a giant dragon model like that guy. Like, yeah. Giant monsters should always just slap in combat. But so he's also a wizard. He's wizard 2. He's a power level 2 wizard, so you can cast 2 spells with him. He's got his own spell, Atavistic Tempest. It goes off on an 8. So to cast a spell in Age of Sigmar, you roll 2d6, and then if you get at or above the power level of the spell, it goes off. But your opponent can try to dispel it with their wizard. So they would then roll 2d6, but they have to beat your roll. So like this spell goes off on an 8, for example. If you were to roll this and you roll a 10, the spell would go off, but then I could try to dispel it. I would just have to roll an 11 or a 12, which is really hard to do. 8 is also a pretty tough number to hit, admittedly. But so you pick a visible enemy unit within 18 inches to be the target, and then do the casting roll. And then you pick one of the following effects to apply to the target until the start of your next turn. So if you don't double turn, this is going to last a while, but you can also still double turn in Age of Sigmar 4th edition. You subtract 1 from hit rolls, which is pretty decent debuff. Subtract 1 from the Ren characteristic, like I was just saying about Ren. Like, Ren is pretty important this edition, it seems like, just because of the lack of save stacking. And then subtract 1 from save rolls. It's basically just giving an additional Rend. Which,
subtract 1 from
if
save
he's got,
rolls.
that would make
It's
him
basically
4
just giving
Rend
an
at that
additional
point,
Rend.
with his, if he's attacking an infantry unit.
If he's
so
got,
yeah, he's
that would
you're
make
either
him
saving on
4
6s
Rend
or you
at
don't
that
get a
point.
save. Which is pretty gnarly. If you're trying to just eliminate something that's around him, he will. If he gets this to go off and you use that one on something near him, he'll just immediately probably delete it. You also add 2 to the casting rolls for this unit. So this goes off at an 8, so all you need to roll is a 6 on 2d6, which is not hard to do. I think that's pretty good. We also don't know what other spells they'll be able to cast because it didn't show off any, but everybody's got a spell lore, which is a bunch of basically just faction-specific spells that any wizard in that faction can cast. So I guess we'll find out what other spells he can cast, but I'm assuming with this add 2 to casting rolls is pretty good. And then he's got a rampage, which you can do any combat phase once per turn. So you can do this in your opponent's turn too, which is pretty good. You pick an enemy unit in combat with this unit, and then you roll a dice. On a 3+, the target cannot use commands for the rest of the turn, which is pretty good. Like, there's some pretty strong
command abilities. Like all out attack, I know still exists. So they're not going to be getting that additional bonus. There's some other ones that I'm blanking on, and obviously they're changing them too. So I don't think we'll truly know how big that'll be until we see everything. But that's, I mean, no, not using commands is pretty good, and it's just free to do basically. It's just a rampage. You don't have to like spend anything to do it. But I'm thinking Krondus is going to be pretty gnarly. They're also showing off Andrasta, which my friend that plays Stormcast Eternal uses Andrasta. She's not the best right now, admittedly. She's pretty good against monsters, but my playgroup, we don't use a whole lot of monsters. None of us have armies that use a whole lot of them. But I mean, she's still like pretty decent in melee, and she's just hard to kill because she gets a bodyguard unit. At least she does right now. I don't know if that's going to be the same this time. 3-up save, 8 health, 12-inch move is fast. 2 control is like pretty. She's like a foot hero, I guess, would be like the equivalent. She's got a ranged attack, 3s and 2s, 2 Ren, 4 damage, and if it's a monster, it's +1 Ren, which again, pretty decent. If she's targeting a monster, it's probably just gonna. It'll probably go through if it's not like a Nurgle thing or something with a really high save. But then you have the melee equivalent of that ranged attack, which is 2s and 2s, 2 rend and 3 damage, which again gets the anti-monster thing. And then Blade of the High Heavens, 3s and 3s, 2s and 3 damage. These are all pretty high damage numbers, especially since they're lowering how much damage everything does in 4th edition. So like 4 and 3 is like pretty solid. Does she have a ward? So she also has a 5-up ward, which is pretty good. She has a passive, double the damage characteristic of Thangavar for attacks that target monsters. Okay, so now is this just period? Okay, so it's not even just like the melee profile of it; it's just all of them. So if you're targeting a monster, it gets +1 rend and it doubles the damage. So if you hit it with the ranged attack, it's going to do 8 damage, and then each of these attacks with the melee profile is going to do 6 damage apiece, which is insane. She's always been meant to be like a monster hunter, but I think they finally nailed that. I think she's going to cleave through monsters if she gets a chance to. She's like kind of low on health, but a 3-up save and a 5-up ward isn't nothing. I guess we'll just have to see, because monsters tend to be able to hit really hard back, would be the problem. But I don't know. We'll see, I guess. It sounds like if she gets a chance, she's going to just eliminate something. She has another passive. Add 1 of the number of dice rolled when making a charge roll for this unit to the maximum of 3. That's also really solid, so she now can charge 18 inches, because charging, you just roll the 2d6 normally, but rolling 3d6, it makes it much easier for her to get into combat, especially with that 12-inch move. She's going to be all over the board. That's going to be a nightmare. And then Dazzling Radiance. Ignore negative modifiers to control scores for the friendly Stormcast Eternals units while they are wholly within 12 inches of this unit. Control scores are basically like if you're on an objective, or if the unit's on an objective. What is happening? My chill music is being interrupted by an ad. No. Basically, if you're near an objective, and your opponent's also near an objective, every model has a control value. So if you have like a unit of 10 guys with control value of 1, that's 10 control.
Basically, if you're near an objective,
so whoever has more control on an objective,
every model has a control.
She's got 2,
value.
and then her passive,
so
you
if you have
make
like a
it
unit
so
of
that
10 guys
other
with control
I
value
guess it
of
includes
1,
her.
That's 10 control.
Friendly Stormcast.
So whoever has
technically
more
she is
control
within
on an objective
range of herself.
controls it.
I don't know. I would have
She's
to
got
read exactly
2,
how that works.
And then
but she's
her
ignoring
passive,
negative modifiers,
you
because
make it
we've
so
already
that
seen a couple things that like will knock down the
I guess
control
it
scores of
includes
some
her?
people. So I think Andrasta is going to
friendly
be
Stormcast.
nutty.
Because technically she
as
is
well,
within
which is
range
pretty
of
cool.
herself. I don't know.
She
I would
deserves
have
it.
to read
I know she
exactly
wasn't
how
the
that
best
works.
in 3rd edition.
But she's
so.
ignoring negative
Because in
modifiers.
3rd edition,
Because
she
we've already
she's
seen a couple
way
things
weaker
that,
and does not nearly
will
do
knock
enough
down the
damage
control
to
scores of some people. So I think
justify
Andrasta's
it.
gonna be
So she like goes up
nutty
to a monster because that's what
well.
she's meant to hunt, and
pretty
it just
cool.
gets like
She
slammed.
deserves
and
it.
just
I know she wasn't
dies.
the best in 3rd edition.
But it seems like she's more survivable
because
now.
in 3rd edition
and
she's
will
way
absolutely
weaker and
clap
does not
something
nearly
with that
do
amount
enough
of
damage
but
to justify it. So she like goes up to a monster because that's what she's meant to hunt.
Moving
and
on.
just gets like slammed and just.
We have.
dies. But it seems
who
like
is
she's
this?
more survivable
Knight
now,
Arcanum.
and will absolutely.
Looks like-
clap
oh, it's a
something
wizard?
with that amount of damage, but
5-inch move, 3-up save, 6 health, 2 control. That's an average. It's fine.
Moving
That's
on.
pretty Stormcast. 3-up save, I think,
we have
For Stormcast, it's like
who's it?
pretty standard because they're all pretty bulky people with big gold armor. Um, Interesting. The melee profile, 3s and 3s, 1 Ren, D3 damage. I don't like D3, D6 damage stuff because it always just feels bad when you get through a bunch of attacks and they're all just 1 damage. When it's like, it could just be 2 damage. Because on average, if you're rolling a D3, I think it works out to where it's like, on average, you're doing 1 or 2 damage. So D3, like, it's rare that you get into 3. Unless you're just rolling hot, in which case that's cool. But it has anti-manifestation plus 1 Ren. So there's endless spells that wizards can summon, which are like a physical model that can move and do things. But they have a health value and a save value as well. So this, I guess if it's fighting one of those manifestations, it gets plus 1 Ren, which isn't... I don't know how important manifestations are going to be. Nobody outside of a couple specific factions really uses them in 3rd edition for the most part, so... But I do know they're all free now. They used to cost points, but they're all free now. And then the passive, add 1 to casting rolls for this unit when it uses a summon ability, and add 1 to the banishment rolls for this unit. So this one seems like its big theme is manifestations. So like endless spells, summoning them and getting rid of them, which is pretty good. If they're important, this will be pretty good. If they're not important, I don't think anybody's going to take this, but... enemy manifestations cannot pass through or end any movement within this unit's combat range unless they started that move within this unit's combat range. That's pretty decent. You can use it kind of as a blocker to prevent manifestations that are particularly gnarly from getting to your bigger units that you want to keep alive. That's not bad. That's pretty good. And it has a 4-up ward against mortal damage inflicted by manifestations. I think if manifestations are good, this is going to be good. If they're not good, or like most people aren't running them still, because I know they're kind of like, I don't know if they're out of print, but like they're kind of hard to find for a lot of factions, or they just sell out really fast. If that's the case and it stays the same, I don't think anybody's going to use this, but it sounds fun, especially like, I don't know, I'm not a tournament player. I'm sure competitive people have their own opinion about this, but if you're playing with friends and your friend bought the special faction pack of endless spells or manifestations for their army, and brings them to every game, like, this might be fun just to throw in to, like, mess with that. But, yeah, who knows? I guess we'll just have to see how important they end up being. It is a 1-cast wizard, too, so it looks like if you want to summon your own manifestations, that's kind of the bag. You add 1 to the rules for it. Interesting. I think they could be fun. And then we have Annihilators, which these dudes are what I mean by, like, if you stick, like, extra attacks and, like, big blobs of these dudes, they're going to be, like, hitting. So this is an infantry unit, 2-up save. Look at that big bulky guy with that huge shield. Makes sense. 3 health each, 4-inch move, so they're really slow. 1 control. But their melee is 3s and 3 attacks on 3s all the way across the board. 1 rend and 2 damage is not insignificant. But it really seems like they're more of like a point holder because they seem to just kind of dig in. Any charge phase, you can use this ability. Pick an enemy unit that charged this turn and is in combat with this unit to be the target. Roll a dice for each model in the unit. If any of the rolls are a 6, the target has strike last for the end of the turn. That's really good. Basically, the combat phase is going to work where some things have strike first, and then there's everything in the middle, and then everything that has strike last. So having strike first means you're basically guaranteed to hit something before any damage gets done back to you. And then everything else in the middle gets to fight. And then strike last means you're the last thing on the board to hit. So if you have some big major thing and they give it strike last, that's like not insignificant. Especially with how many dice they're rolling for that, which is kind of wild. And then in your movement phase, this unit was set up this turn using the Scions of the Storm ability. So going back to their whole Scions of the Storm ability. So this is the one that if you could put them in the Celestial Realm and then basically deep strike them in 9 inches away from any enemy unit, which isn't bad. So this one seems to be compatible with that. Pick up to 3 enemy units within 10 inches of it to be the targets, and then roll a d3 for each target. On a 2+, inflict an amount of mortal damage on the target equal to the roll. So you're doing 2 or 3 mortal damage to anything that you're kind of near when you do that, which is pretty decent. I have a feeling that they'll probably be the dudes you stick in that most often, but who knows? Other dudes could also have this ability, because obviously we haven't seen everything from any faction. So I guess we'll just have to see
if there's any of them that are better, because it seems like you can only do one. You can only put one dude, one unit in the Celestial Realm. Yeah, you pick a friendly unit. So you can only put one in. But that's still, like, not horrible. Like, having a unit come in and do mortals to something just by coming on the board is, like, pretty decent. Like, there's not really a downside to it. I don't know. Overall, I think Stormcast sound fine. And then Spearhead, which, I don't care. I think Stormcast sound fine. I know they kind of struggled the current edition, but, I mean, these save scores and health and everything, especially in Drosta, sounds, like, really gnarly. So, I guess we will see how this all pans out. But I think they sound better than they did last edition. But also you have to compare it to everything else too, which obviously we don't have. We don't have points values. We don't have all of the rules for every faction. We don't have a lot of stuff. So that could obviously severely change and by the time the edition comes out. But overall, right now, I think this is like pretty decent. I don't know if my friend that plays Stormcast is particularly excited, but it's fine. I think they look really cool too. I think the silver and gold is kind of cool. I like the gold better though. Now we're gonna do Skaven. Oh boy, I I haven't played Skaven. None of my friends play Skaven. I like Skaven, and with the new edition, they're kind of like the big secondary launch faction. So Stormcast are always gonna be in the launch. But then they're always fighting somebody new. So the new one is Skaven versus Stormcast, which I think is fun. So I'm probably getting into Skaven in the new one because the new models look really cool too. They're just evil rat men that dig up. They're basically rats on crack. They dig up glowing green rocks that are basically crack, and they eat it and they snort it or they do whatever with it. And then they get like really crazy and get really strong, but it also half the time will explode and kill them before they get to do anything. So they're a very high risk, high reward faction, but you also kind of can't get mad about them because like at least in third it seems like it was really just swingy. Like everything that you're doing is either gonna really annihilate something or it's just gonna kill yourself. So it really kind of it could go either way for them too. But yeah, they're so cool. They're just evil little rats. They blew up the moon in the lore, so that's pretty cool. That new thing looks so awesome. And the giant ratling gun. They have guns, which is unlike a fantasy thing. God, the new Skaven models looks amazing. Anyways, they're battle traits, so these are like their faction army rules. During the deployment phase, you can pick a friendly Skaven unit that has not been deployed and set that unit in reserve in the tunnels below. It has now been deployed. And then once per battle round, start of the battle round. So this can be any round, I guess, whether you're going first or second. But it has to be at the start of the round, it sounds like. You can use this ability if there are fewer than 3 friendly gnaw holes on the battlefield. Set up a gnaw hole on the battlefield more than 9 inches away from all enemy units, more than 1 inch from all friendly units, and more than 3 inches from all objectives and other terrain features. They have like a faction terrain that's like a giant hole in the ground, because their whole thing is that they live underground and they like scurry out of the ground. They pop out and just flood everywhere with a million rats. So this, I guess, is just setting up. You can set up any round. If you lose a gnaw hole, you can set up another one, it sounds like, which isn't bad. Like, I don't know how it used to work, but I think it used to be if you lost a gnaw hole, you were that's the end of that. They have a passive, too quick to hit. No mortal damage is inflicted on Skaven infantry and cavalry units by the retreat ability. If you retreat out of combat, you do have to take a desperate escape. It is fun living underground like a sewer person. But they don't live in sewers. They just live in, like, tunnels. They, like, mine. The rats yearn for the mines because they dig up warp stone that they use in, like, guns and evil science. If you retreat, you have to take some damage for retreating. Another ad on my chill music. I don't have an ad blocker because I'm dumb and horrible and stupid. But it's fine. Simon the Devious. So if you retreat, take damage. So I guess Skaven don't, which is fine.
I'm
I don't know
done.
how often you're going to be retreating them.
It's
I guess if they have charge
It's
abilities
fine.
that can go off, so if you retreat them and then
Sign
next
the
turn
deed.
charge them, I guess that could be fun. But I don't know if
So
they
if
have
you
that.
retreat, take damage. So I guess Skaven don't. Which is fine.
Null
I don't know how
ambush,
often you're
pick
gonna
a
be
friendly
retreating them.
Skaven
I guess
unit
if they have charge
that
abilities
is
that
in the
can go
tunnels
off,
below
so
to
if you
use this
retreat
ability.
them and then next
Set up
turn
that
charge them,
unit
I guess that
wholly
could be
within
fun,
6
but
inches of a friendly Null hole,
I don't
more
know if
than
they
9
have
inches. So instead of just going anywhere on the
Null
board,
ambush, pick a friendly Skaven
they go
that is in the tunnels below to use this
near the
ability.
Null hole.
Set up
So they're
that
crawling
unit
out of the holes,
wholly
which is
within
thematic.
6 inches of a friendly Null
And you do
hole,
get
more than
3
9
Null
inches.
holes. So you can kind of place them
instead
out
of just
wherever
going
you want
anywhere
to
on the board,
which isn't bad.
they go
And then once per turn, army,
near the
enemy
Null
hero
hole.
phase.
So they're
So
crawling out of the
specifically your
holes,
enemy
which is
hero.
thematic.
Pick a friendly
And you do get
non-monster
3
Skaven
novels,
unit that
so
is
you can
not in
kinda place
combat
them
and is
out
not set up
wherever
this
you
turn
wanna
to use
put
this
them.
ability. That unit can
Which
use
isn't
the
bad.
normal move
And
ability
then
as if it were your
once per
move
turn,
phase. That's pretty
army,
good.
enemy hero phase. So
You can just
specifically
move.
pick a friendly non-monster Skaven.
You can just move dudes in the enemy hero phase. You just move one guy, which isn't bad. It's pretty fun. Especially if you're trying to get some positioning going. What do we got? This is their battle formation, so like their sub-faction, basically. One of them. They should have 4 of them. Yeah, they'll have 4.
Yeah, they'll have
I think. All of them, I think, have said they'll have 4. They'll have multiple. I don't know if everybody has 4. It seems like most people have 4. If not, everybody has 4. Prize creations. Flesh milled menagerie. Ew. Pick up to 3 friendly non-hero molder units to be the target. Roll a dice, or so it's once per turn in your hero phase. Okay. Roll a dice for each target and then apply the corresponding effects. 1 to 2, inflict D3 mortal damage on the target. 3 to 4, add 1 to the attacks characteristic of target's melee weapons until the start of your next turn. 5 to 6, in addition to the effect of Rabid Infusion. So you get this one on a 5 or a 6. You also get a 5 up board. That's pretty good, especially Molder units tend to be like monsters. So if you do this to a monster with like a high damage attack, extra attacks and wards is pretty good. Because Skaven are usually pretty easy to kill, and they don't do a lot of damage, except for monsters, but that'll be interesting. That's probably be a fun faction if you're using like rat ogres like these and stuff. And then this is a spell. This is a manifestation lore. So this is gonna be this thing. Like this is what I was talking about with the other one that gets rid of and summons the Stormcast ones easier. But they've got Warp Lightning Vortex. Goes off on a 7.
Warp Lightning Vortex.
If there can't already be one on the battlefield, then you pick a Skaven Wizard and make a casting roll. You have to get a 7 on 2d6. Set up the first part of the Warp Lightning Vortex within 18 inches of this caster and visible to them. Then set up the second and third parts exactly 7 inches from the first part and exactly 7 inches from each other so they form a triangle. Okay, so we're doing like 7-inch by 7-inch triangle. And then what does it do? It's got a 6 up save, 7 health, 7 plus banishment. So you can try to banish it by rolling a 7 plus. Or you can kill it in combat, which it's only got 7 health and a 6 up save, so if you have any rend, that thing is dead. Multiple parts. When a number of damage points equal to this manifestation's health characteristic are allocated to it, this manifestation is destroyed and all its parts are removed, so you can't like keep a couple of them on. If one goes away, all of them go. It does have a 6-up ward. That's hilarious. Warp Lightning Bolts. If this manifestation was not set up this turn, pick each enemy unit within 6 inches of this manifestation to be the targets. Roll a dice for each target on a 4+ inflict D3 mortal damage on the target. That's not bad. So it just does damage to things near it. It's pretty good. That's any hero phase too. And it's got a passive. Subtract 2 from run rolls and charge rolls for enemy units while they are within 6 inches of this manifestation. In addition, if an enemy unit passes across this manifestation, inflict D3 mortal damage on it, on that enemy unit after the move ability has been resolved. So it does damage. It makes you slower and does damage if you cross like the lightning. That's pretty good. This is interesting. I've never used an endless spell in all my time playing Age of Sigmar, so I guess I'll have to see how they turn out. But and then we got Lord Screech, the Vermin King. He's got damn. That's a lot of words. I'm reading all of them, unfortunately. He's only a 1-cast wizard. He moves 10 inches, 13 health, 4 up save, 5 control. That's decent. I would figure he'd have more control because he's Is he a little bit bigger? I'm trying to think of who this model is. 7 attacks, 3s and 2s, 2 rend, 3 damage. Crits is 2. Alright. Crits 2 hits means every 6 you roll to hit is an additional successful hit. So if you're rolling 7 dice, you're probably going to get at least a couple 6s.
This thing is going to be devastating.
This thing is going to be
I'm feeling,
devastating.
especially with that 2 rend and 3 damage. That's going to be hard. That's a lot of attacks for that profile.
That's going to be hard. That's a lot of attacks for that profile.
He's got a spell, so I guess that's going to be the spell you probably cast with him. You
so
can
I guess that's going to be the spell you probably cast with him. You can cast
goes off on a 7, the dreaded 13th spell.
Goes off on a 7, the dreaded 13th
Pick an enemy unit within 13 inches.
Within 13 inches.
Roll 13 dice for each 5+.
Roll
inflict
13
damage, and you can return a slain model to a clan rats unit.
A slain model to a clan rats unit wholly within 13 inches.
So you do some damage and heal.
So you do some damage and heal.
That's pretty good. 7's not a hard cast either.
7's not a hard cast.
I don't know. We'll see how that goes. That sounds like it'd be fine, though. 13 dice is not insignificant. You'll probably at least get a couple of them, which mortal damage is annoying. Once per turn, any combat phase, so every combat phase, terrifying monstrosity. Pick an enemy infantry unit in combat with this unit to be the target. Roll a dice. On a 3+, it cannot use commands for the rest of the turn, and subtract an amount equal to the roll from the target's control score until the start of the next turn. Interesting. The commands thing, again, like I was saying earlier, can kind of be it can either be good or it can be bad, depending on how important commands end up being. Some factions, I imagine, will probably lean on them more than others. So we'll just have to see on that one. But the control score was pretty good. Control score is not the control value. So he's got a control value 5, but he's one model, so you can lower his, I guess. But like a unit of 10 dudes, each with 2 control, if you subtract that amount from the control score, it's not from this number that every model has, it's from the total. So 10 dudes with 2 is 20. So if you roll a 4 on this, their control score would be 16 instead of 20. If that makes sense. Not just annihilating it completely. And this is a lot of words, whatever this does. The 13-headed one. Pick one of the following effects to apply until the start of your next turn. You cannot pick the same effect more than once per battle. Add 1 to casting rolls for friendly Master Clan wizards while they are wholly within 13 inches. That's good if there's a lot of them. If there's a lot of wizards and you keep them close to this. Commander Vermin, add 1 to the charge rolls for friendly Verminous units while they're wholly within 13 inches. So if you're running them into combat and you have Verminous units, I guess that'd probably be pretty good. Add 1 to hit rolls for shooting attacks made by Scryer units while they're wholly within 13 inches. If the Warp Lightning Cannon and stuff are Scryer units, that's going to be pretty gnarly, because those do a lot of damage. And Rattling Guns, and Warplock Jezzails, all that stuff. I guess if you're doing a really ranged heavy list and you keep this dude back, it's pretty good. Add 1 to the rend characteristic of melee weapons by Eshin units while they're wholly within 13. That's okay. Rend, again, like I was saying, is probably going to be more devastating than last edition, so that's pretty good. Add 1 to chanting rolls for Pestilence Priests while they're wholly within 13 inches. Again, it depends on how many priests, I guess, and how good the prayers are. And then, or you can just heal D3 of each Molder unit within 13 inches, which those are the monsters, so that's also pretty good. Just healing every turn. Screech sounds really good. I'm trying to get into rats, so I might get a Screech. I don't have one. Rat Ogres. These are some of the new models. They look amazing. I love the new Rat Ogre. This isn't even the coolest one. I don't know why they're showing this one on the War Scroll. This isn't the coolest one. 5-up save, trash. Especially with everything having rend, or less rend still, but still things have 2 rend, and then you just don't get a save. 4 health, so you're just using your health characteristic, basically, to tank things out. But these come in units of 3, I want to say. So that's, I don't know. They get a gun. Or I guess one out of 3 have a gun in addition. So one of them, you get 2d6 shots, 2's 4's, 2 rend, 1 damage, and it can shoot in combat. That's not bad. It's pretty decent. Shooting in combat, never a bad thing. It's just an extra attack you can do. Again, I don't think that's going to do like a whole ton of damage or anything. Very cool. I have not gone over the underwater guys. The Ideneth Deepkin. I haven't gone over them yet. I'm going in order. Which I know they've done that one. They've done that one, but I don't know when they did it. I'm going in order though. We're on Skaven. Ideneth are down here. So we've got some more to go. I don't know if I'm getting through all these today, realizing how long I'm yapping about each of these, but I will at least try to get to the Deepkin for you. Worst comes to worst, I can just skip to them if I wanted to while you're here. Rat Ogres, though, their melee profile is pretty solid. Hitting on force isn't the best, but I guess if you use like a +1 to hit ability or something, that's pretty good. 2 damage, again, like, these sound okay. They're not like big damage dealers. Any combat phase, so every combat phase, inflict D3 mortal damage on this unit. Ooh. Then add 1 to the attack's characteristic of melee weapons for the rest of the turn. I get the Skaven stuff. We do need to get tabletop sim working so that we can play Age of Sigmar like that. I think that'd be fun. But it seems like everything's really out of date for it. I don't know. Especially with now that the new edition's coming. This, I don't know about this. I get that the Skaven's whole bag is like high risk, high reward, basically. Like, damage your guys, or risk killing them, or risk big damage to them, but you're going to mess something up. This doesn't seem crazy. +1 attack, that's okay. But it's like guaranteed damage on it. It was a couple years out of date. There's a lot of stuff that I saw that they didn't have on there, unfortunately. But guaranteed damage on this, like most other things, it's like roll a thing, and then on a 2+ it does damage. But this is just flat inflict the damage, and then, especially with them only having 4, if you roll a 3, one of them's basically dead. And they don't have the save to compensate for that. They don't have a ward. Rat Ogres, I don't know. That doesn't sound the best. They look cool as hell, though. I'll be excited to paint them, but I don't know if I'll field them a lot. Yay, the Warp Lightning Cannon. These things are ridiculous. The way they used to work was you'd roll a power level. I forget how exactly it worked, but you'd roll a power level, and then roll like a bunch of dice. But then I think it was, what was it? Anything below the... I think it's anything below the power level. Anything below the... It's either anything above or below the power level would do mortal wounds to whatever is shot. And then at the other end of that, so if that, let's say if it's above, it does mortal damage to stuff. If it's below, it does that much to you. So you're rolling a bunch of dice, and it's like you just probably blow yourself up, but you'd probably kill something in the effort as well. 3-inch move on that is very slow, but it is like a cannon. It's got a 20-inch range. You'd have to move it a little bit probably to get it. I don't know. We'll see. 8 health is pretty decent. 4 up save is okay. 2 control. No ward. It's War Machine. 20-inch range. 2 d6 attacks. 4 to hit. And then... I'm guessing it's this one. Warp Lightning Blast. Each attack made with this weapon in a single phase must target the same enemy unit. Each hit inflicts 1 mortal damage on the target, and the attack sequence ends. So you roll 2d6, and that's how many attacks you get. And then... every 4-up on all of those dice is just a mortal damage. That's pretty good. I'm not even going to go over the melee profile. It's trash, but it's meant to be trash. You're not meant to get this in melee combat. But once per turn, so every turn, or no, your shooting phase, so in yours specifically, more Warp Lightning. If this unit is within combat range of a friendly Scryer hero, add 6 to the attack's characteristic of the Warp Lightning Blast with a turn. So you get 2d6 plus 6 for a potential of, you're never going to get 18, but a potential of 18 shots that are going to annihilate something. You're just going to blow something off the board. However, for each unmodified hit roll of a 1 for an attack made with this unit's Warp Lightning Blast, inflict d3 mortal damage on this unit after the shoot ability has resolved. That's the fun. That's good high risk, high reward. 6 additional attacks on that is good, versus the ogres getting 1 additional attack on their, like, okay melee profile. Like, 2 damage is okay for an infantry unit, but it's only 3 of them. So, like, you're getting... with 3 of them, you'd have 18 attacks with using this after you damage 1, and almost possibly kill 1. Or kill 1 if it's already damaged. This, 6 extra mortal damage, 6 potential extra mortal damage is significant. But you do also highly run the risk of blowing yourself up. But I kind of like that, especially since you're taking more than the damage is going to do. I like that, though. That'd be very fun. Warp Lightning Cannon continuing to be amazing. Nahol. This is their faction terrain, the things they crawl out of.
They have 4 up save, 6 health, no moving, no control. Obviously, it's terrain. Models can pass through this terrain feature, but cannot be set up on or end moves on any part of the terrain feature, so you can't climb on it. Every time an enemy unit ends a move that passed through or across this terrain feature, roll a d3 on a 2+, inflict mortal damage. So if you go near it, it's going to hurt you. You can use a command ability on the end of your turn. Pick a friendly non-hero Skaven and an infantry unit that has been destroyed to be the target. You set up a replacement unit with half the number of models from the target unit rounding up, wholly within 6 inches of the gnaw hole and more than 3 inches away from all enemy units. That's really good, especially for 1 command point. That's a very good cost if you're bringing back, like, massive throngs of rats. Like, again, if you have like a unit, I think they come in 20s? I think rats come in 20s. I could be wrong. Ignore me if I'm wrong. But you can reinforce it up to 40 at that point. So even using this ability is half. It's still 20 rats. It's 20 more rats. That's pretty good. And then Tunnels Through Reality. Pick a friendly Skaven unit that is not in combat and wholly within 6 inches of the feature to be the target. Remove the target from the battlefield and set it up again, wholly within 6 inches of another friendly gnaw hole and more than 9 inches from all enemy units. That's pretty good. So you're just like moving them around the board. That's pretty good. I like that. Gnaw holes sound very important to the Skaven right now. I don't know how important they are in 3rd. I haven't played Skaven. I'm planning to in 4th because they sound entertaining. They sound very important, so I hope the models become more available for them. But yeah, that's it. That's gonna be Spearhead. Overall, I think Skaven sound really fun. I'm kind of not about the rat ogres. I don't really. Because then I guess you heal D3 if you're near this guy. But that's like a really specific combo. I don't know. Everything else sounds really fun though. I like the rats. Hopefully the rest of their stuff turns out really good too. All right, we're gonna move on. I'm already behind. Gloomspite gets. My buddy is building a Gloomspite Gitz army right now. I have not played against Gloomspite Gitz. I don't play Gloomspite Gitz, but my buddy is building them. So hopefully, if he ever comes in chat, he can let us know what he thinks of this, because he knows the rules right now. I don't. Sorry, I'm drinking my Fago. Fago Moon Mist. Juggalo juice. Anyways, Gloomspite Gitz. They're basically little goblins that live in caves and are addicted to mushrooms and believe the moon commits crimes. That's their whole thing. The moon commits crimes, and we're about it. So we commit crimes for the moon while whacked out on magic mushrooms. They're amazing. Super cute. If I remember right, they're a very wizard-heavy army. They're so cool. Look at all these dudes. Look at them. They love the mushrooms. They love them so much to death. They got the big moon rock. They get trolls. They get big trolls. Troggoths. Squigs. These little duders. They're very fast. Yeah, they're very... I like the... I like Gloomspite aesthetically. They're very cool. Look at them. Goofy guys. Their army rules. Ay. They get 2, and they're very long. Passive. So this just is forever. Under the light of the bad moon. During the battle, an area of the battlefield will be the bad moon's location. See the bad moon's orbit. We'll look at that in a second. Or I guess actually we should just look at it now. You must use this ability at the start of the battle round. If multiple players... So this is once per battle round at the start of the battle round. So every round you're going to be doing this. Advertisements on my music. Because I don't have an ad blocker. Because I'm dumb. So this is going to be every battle round. If multiple players are commanding a Gloomspite Gitz army, then instead at the start of the battle round you roll off. Okay. If you're doing Gitz versus Gitz, that'd be a fun matchup, I feel like. That'd be a fun match to play or see. I don't know 2 people with a Gitz army, though, so I don't know if I could do that. If it is the first battle round, pick a quarter of the battlefield to be the Bad Moon's starting location. If it is the second or subsequent battle round, roll the dice. On a 1 to 3, the Bad Moon stays at the current location. On a 4+, the Bad Moon moves. The first time the Bad Moon moves, it moves to the center of the battlefield.
The second time it moves to the quarter diagonally opposite the quarter in which it started. The third time it moves off the battlefield and has no further effect on the battle. Strategically roll low, I guess. So if you don't want to lose, because you don't want to lose the Bad Moon. We'll see what it does now, but while the Bad Moon's location is a quarter of the battlefield, all Gloomspite Gits units, friendly and enemy, so if you're playing Gits versus Gits, could be a problem. Wholly within that quarter are under the light of the Bad Moon. While the Bad Moon's location is the center of the battlefield, all Gloomspite Gits units, friendly and enemy, I love that they clarify that, on the battlefield are under the light of the Bad Moon. While a friendly Gloomspite Gits unit is under the light of the Bad Moon, the appropriate effect below applies to it. If the unit is a non-Squig Moon Clan unit, add 3 to its control score. Pretty big. 3 is big. Lunar Squigs, if the unit is a Squig unit, you can re-roll the random characteristic for its move characteristic. Squigs move random. They move, I think it's like 2d6. They have like 2d6 movement. So I guess you can, if they're in the Bad Moon, you can re-roll it if you want to move further. Or try to move further. It's random. If there's a Troggoth unit, you add 1 to save rolls. I don't know how tanky they're going to be, but if I remember right, they're pretty hard to kill already, so that's pretty significant. If the unit is a Spider Fang unit, its combat attacks or critical hits on unmodified hit rolls of 5+. That's pretty good if they have a good critical ability. Yeah, Bad Moon sounds solid. You don't want it to move off the board. That's crazy. It'll never come back, since it sounds pretty significant to their army. But these are Squigs, by the way, if you don't know what a Squig is. They're very cute. I don't know what exactly they are. They're cool. They're neat. I like them. This is their the battle formation they're showing off, which is like a sub-faction. So you pick a sub-faction. There's going to be 4. I think there's 4 for everybody. A lot of the articles say 4. I don't know if I remember seeing any other ones that say more than 4. I think it's 4 for everybody. At least in the faction pack. That might go up or down when they get actual full Battle Tome books, but we'll see. They get Squigalanche. Bouncing Fury. Each time a friendly Squig unit charges, add 1 to the attack's characteristic of its fang-filled gobs. Massive fang-filled gobs, or huge fang-filled gobs for the rest of the turn. So they get bonus attacks every time they charge for Squig units. That's pretty good. Depending on how good these weapons are, which I think the huge is on these. And then either it's these or massive or huge. I don't know. What's the difference? What is the difference? And then they get here's a spell. This is an unlimited spell. So you can cast this as many times with as many different wizards as you want. But the same wizard can't cast it twice. But you can cast it with a bunch of different wizards. So if a spell isn't unlimited, only one wizard can try to cast it. Unlimited means as many wizards from the army can try to cast it.
Cast this as many times.
Goes off on a 7. Until the start of your next turn, subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made by enemy units while they are wholly within 12 inches of the caster. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, especially against some armies that are already not very good to hit. That could be interesting. 7 is a little high for that effect, I feel like. But I mean, I guess wholly within 12 inches, like if you have that wizard pretty central, it's going to be kind of devastating. I don't know if I'd say devastating. But 7, I feel like 7's a little high for that. But I feel like they're also going to get a bunch of bonuses. I could be wrong, though. Bonuses to cast, I mean. So, they're showing off Scrag-Rot, the Loon King. 6-up save, trash. Trash. Any rend at all, he just doesn't get a save. That's trash. 6 health. I don't know how. I think he's small. It's fine. He's a little guy, I think. 4 attacks. The moon on a stick is not what you're using him for. That's like here because he needs something, but it's not very good. Once per battle reaction, you declared the Bad Moon's orbit ability. So once per battle, you can use this after the Bad Moon thing goes off. So this, when it moves, when it's meant to try to move, you can use this. You can choose whether the Bad Moon moves to the next location or stays in its current location instead of rolling the dice. That's pretty good, especially if it's about to go off the board. You can just say, no, this is going to hang out. That's pretty decent. Oh, he does have okay. He's got a 4-up ward, so that at least makes it more survivable. He's a 2-cast wizard as well. I should have looked at that before I said anything. 6-up save still kind of sucks, but 4-up ward is nothing to scoff at, I guess. Another 7-cast spell. This is his. Pick a visible enemy unit within 18 inches of this unit to be the target, then make a casting roll. Roll a number of dice equal to the unmodified casting roll for each 3+ inflict a mortal damage on the target. That's pretty good. It's pretty good. If you cast high, if you roll high, that's probably going to be pretty devastating, admittedly. 3+ is pretty low. Usually things like that go off on 4s or 5s. 3 is crazy. And then a reaction to you declared the redeploy command for a Moon Clan unit wholly within 12 inches. Babbling Wand. If you roll a 1 to 3 when determining the distance that unit can move, you can use value 4 instead. That's not bad. If you're retreating stuff, or if you're redeploying stuff to get things out of the way of dudes trying to come up and mess them up, that's not bad. You move them 4 instead of 1 to 3. That's fine. Gobblepalooza, look at... I love this model. It's so goofy looking. He looks so sad. He looks sad. He looks confused. He's eating too many mushrooms. Or breathing this in. He's a 1-cast wizard. 6-up save, trash. No ward on this guy. Actually, never mind. Pfft. Excuse me, I'm wrong. It says ward right here. 6-up save, 3 health. That's very low. 2 control. Staff, Sticka, or Jaggedy Blade. Again, you're not using him for the melee profile, so I'm not going to bother. Hallucinogenic Fungus Bruise. In the first battle round, this unit has a ward of 4+. Okay. In the second battle round, he has a 5-up ward, and in the third and subsequent, he has a 6-up ward. So he gets easier to kill as the game goes on. That's fine. That's fine. Gobblepalooza know what's. Roll a dice. This is your hero phase. Roll a dice on a 3+, pick one of the following effects. Pick a friendly Goomspike Git unit within this unit's combat range. Add 1 to run rolls and to charge rolls for that unit until the start of the next turn. If you're charging stuff, that's pretty good. If you're charging stuff, that's near him. Pick a friendly Gloomspike gets unit within this unit's combat range. Add 1 of the rend characteristic of that unit's weapons till the start of your next turn. That's also pretty good. As we talked about, rend I think is going to be more important than a lot of people are making it out to be in this edition, since save stacking is gone. And then the last one, pick a visible enemy unit within 12 inches, and until the start of the next turn, that unit cannot use commands. That, again, it depends on how important commands are. He seems fine. These 2 abilities are way better than that one, I have a feeling. But these 2 are not bad. And this is, like, okay. I don't know. He's, like, a pretty decent, like, buff stack model, I guess. We'll just have to see. Squig Herd. Squigs. These lovely little... Oh no, he's eating him. 6-up save, trash. No ward, trash save. 1 health each. They're going to get cleaved through by anything, pretty much. Fangfield Gob. So this, in the sub-faction, will get... What is it? When they charge, they get an additional attack when they charge. So if you're not charging, it's 3 attacks. If you are charging, it's 4. 4s, 3s, 1 rend, 1 damage. That's okay. With the amount of them, it sounds. What is it? 6. The unit's gonna be 6. What is 6 times 18 attacks? Or if you use, it's gonna be 24 if you charge. That's not bad. Just the amount. You could use like all-out attack to get it 3s and 3. That's okay. And then the Squig Prodder, that doesn't matter. This trash. You're not going to use that. It is a beast, so the maximum control score of 1. So unlike everything else where the control characteristic is for each model, this one, it is intentional. Yeah, the squigs are meant to be kind of cute. They are. They're in 40k too for the orcs. But nobody really uses squig. I don't know. Some people probably use squigs. I don't know much about like the orcs in 40k. I don't play them, and none of my friends do. But yeah, they are pretty cute, aren't they? The squigs. So instead of every model having 1 control, the whole unit is going to have 1, which is kind of bad. But I've seen other beasts, and they also have the same thing, so I think it's just like a thing for beasts, which is fine. They're not. I don't think they're meant to be used to hold objectives. I think these at least are. I think are just to bog people down. They have D6 plus 3 movement. Which, under the light of the bad moon, you can re-roll that d6. You can re-roll the random part. So if you roll like a 1, you can re-roll it if they're in the build. That's pretty good. They'll probably move pretty quick. They have another passive. Each time a model in this unit is slain by a combat attack, and that model was in combat with the attacking unit, on a roll a dice. On a 5+, you do mortal damage on the attacking unit after the fight ability is resolved. That's pretty good. Oh yeah, all right. So they're gonna you rush them in really fast, bog somebody down, hopefully pick some off before they come to your wizards in the backline or to your points is what I'm assuming. The squigs will probably be used for. They'll probably be cheap as dirt too, so you can bring like a bunch of squads of them. But again, we haven't seen points, so who knows? And then during your hero phase, you can roll a dice for each squig herder in this unit, and for each 2+, you can return D3 slain cave squigs to this unit. For each 1, the squig herder is slain. So 1 out of every 6 can be a squig herder. So then if you roll a higher than a 2, you can get some squigs. That's pretty good. They'd be pretty good at like bogging things down. They're a good like screening unit, I'm assuming. Yeah, I think squigs will be fine. And then they got their faction terrain, which I think is the last thing. It's so cool looking. I bet this would be so fun to paint. All the mushrooms and stuff. The Bad Moon Loon Shrine. 4-up save, 14 health, because you can destroy them. You can destroy faction terrain in this. Effigy of the Bad Moon. Friendly Gloomspite gets units are under the light of the Bad Moon while they're wholly within 12 inches of this terrain feature. That's pretty good. If you have this like in a good spot, all your dudes within that range are going to have your army bonus permanently, which is pretty good if they're around it. That's not bad at all. I kind of did. Like, these have always been important, if I remember right. In 3rd edition, they've been really important too. Hella sold out. Good luck finding one. But they're really cool. And then once per turn, at the end of your turn, you can pay a command point and pick a friendly, non-hero, non-monster, non-war machine. Do they have a war machine? I don't think they have a war machine. Gloomspite gets a unit that has been destroyed, and then you can set up a replacement unit with half the number of models. Again, so this is like recursion. So if you pay 1 at the end of your turn, you can set up half of a destroyed unit, which is good. Like, Gits infamously will just crumble under any pressure at all. So I think like setting up replacement units for a CP is not bad, especially if you have one left over, because I think they reset every round or every turn. I forget how they work in 4th edition, but this is not bad. Like, just getting half of the unit every end of your turn, every round. Not bad at all. All right, they're so cool looking. I love the Gits. Gits are sounding really good. I will have to definitely wait and see what the rest of their wizards and stuff do, and what their like trogs and stuff, like the big trolls, because we didn't get like any knowledge on a lot of their big stuff. Some of it sounds pretty solid though. We'll see if they're as good as they are right now, because if I'm thinking correctly, I think statistically they're like really powerful right now in 3rd edition, but we will just have to see if they can maintain that. Who's next? I think the next is like an army that yes, Night Haunt. I play Night Haunt. The Night Haunt were the first Age of Sigmar army I got. I've been playing Night Haunt for a long time, so I have intimate knowledge of the ghosts, the Scooby-Doo ghosts army. I love them. They're just the souls of bad people. Sometimes not bad people. Some of them are nurses, just because Nagash, the god of death, is kind of a shithead. But they're just the ghosts reanimated as one of Nagash's personal army. Oh, the Night Haunt models are some of the coolest. I think Lady Olinda is like the coolest model, or one of the coolest models they've ever made. Ever. They're so beautiful. They're so cool. I love the ghosts. My problem with them is how spindly they are. If you yeah, that is hilarious. Plastic warsuits, plastic wire. Yeah, it's true, dude. That sounds really annoying. But ghosts, the problem with their models, where's one? I have one, I think, like right here. So, they're really spindly. They have very little contact with the base. Like, he's got this one, where is it? This one contact point with the base. If this breaks, he will fall apart. And they get hooked. They all get hooked on each other constantly, which is annoying, especially when like big blobs. Like I have like a blob of They're easy as hell to paint, actually. They're one of the easiest armies to paint. If you're a beginner painter, I definitely recommend Night Haunt, because they're actually very easy to paint. Nightmare to transport, nightmare to store, very easy to break. Some of them, Spirit Hosts, I think, are nominally known as the hardest to build Age of Sigmar model. So that's fun. But Night Haunt, we're going to look at the rules. I have already read this one, but they're actually very easy, because usually, like, these spindly bits at the end are just the same color all the way through. So you don't have to, like, do any detail on them. Basically, like, you can fade some color leading up, so it, like, transitions. But that's, like, an advanced technique. You don't have to do that. Like, my dude's like, this one I did not paint. I just found this for really cheap, and I needed one. But my dude's, like, they have, like, a black part cloak, and then, like, purple all the way down. But I'm trying to figure out how to do, like, a good, like, transition. I'm going to do, like, jade green to purple would be really cool, I think. But that's neither here nor there right now. Night Haunt, look at how cool they are. You got Kurdos Valentian, Grimgas Reapers with their little bell stick, man. I don't have Allrock the Drowner. I want him so bad. Allrock the Drowner is so cool, and he just teleports dudes around the map. Currently, I don't know what he does in 4th yet, so we'll have to see. The Black Coach, Nightmare. It, like, hangs, like, 4 or 5 inches off the base. Very annoying. Yeah, they're ghosts. Look at how cool this is. Look at this art. Lady O, keeping him on a leash. With the new edition, do you need to get any new models or just the book? So the new edition is an index edition. And what that means is when the edition comes out, every faction, instead of everybody having to wait for a book to come out, there's going to be the core rules, and then they're putting out index PDFs for every faction that are not going to be the full rules. When the books come out, you'll get way more, and there'll be refining stuff, but it'll be all of the units and then certain, like, a handful of rules that you can use until your book comes out. You get more, and slowly they'll drip feed. Yeah, it is like what they're doing with 40K. It's the exact same thing. They'll drip feed books out over time, and then as new books come out, obviously rules get added, things change, stuff like that. But yeah, you don't, like, and new models will come out, but as it stands right now, all of them you can use all of the old models except for some. Stormcast infamously are having a lot of their stuff taken away, a lot of their toys taken away. Beasts of Chaos are not going to be a faction in Age of Sigmar, stuff like that anymore. But for the most part, you can use the same models, barring a handful that are getting removed. But that's a thing they do with every new edition of it. They always remove models because some are just ancient as hell. Either to add a new version of it, or just because it's ancient and they haven't made them in forever, so why bother writing rules for it? I love this art. Lady Linder with her ghost on a chain. You definitely should. It's very fun. I definitely recommend Age of Sigmar. Age of Sigmar is, like, hot take. I kind of like Age of Sigmar more than 40K. I don't know as much about the lore of Age of Sigmar. I think the game is, at least 3rd edition, has been more fun than 10th edition. 4th edition, I guess we'll see. And then I think the models look way cooler for Age of Sigmar. For sure, that's fair. That's all. Like, my biggest thing, too, and I recommend any kind of Warhammer or war game, is always pick things that you like looking at, because you're going to be staring at them for a long time. Painting them takes hours. And putting them together takes hours, and playing the game takes hours. You're going to be looking at the dudes for a long time. So don't worry as much about, like, rules and stuff. Pick something that you want to look at, because, by God, you'll be staring at them for, sometimes, in my case, 10 to 15 hours per model. That's totally fair. And if I could teach you Night Haunt, I have over 2,000 points in Night Haunt. I play Night Haunt regularly. They're the first army I did for Age of Sigmar, but... Getting into their rules, honestly, these have not changed much from 3rd edition. They've changed a little bit. Most of it is very similar to what they do right now. They have their passive that's the exact same. Ignore all modifiers to save rolls, positive and negative, for friendly Night Haunt units, excluding Nagash, which is hilarious. Basically, the Night Haunt, pretty much everything in it has a 4-up save, but that cannot change.
So we're the one army that ignores rend completely. But that also means we can't save stack. We've never been able to because we can't positively change our save either. We can't change our save at all. You can't damage my save. I can't improve my save. Is basically the way it works. And the 4-up is kind of 4-up is low, but I get it's 50-50 shot basically every time. We still have Discorporate. You pay a command point, and you pick a Nighthaunt unit that was targeted by an attack. That unit has a ward of 5+. Everything in the Nighthaunt army probably still has a 6-up ward. In 3rd edition, everything had a 6-up ward in the Nighthaunt army. But you can improve it to a 5-up for a command point. That's like kind of, instead of us being able to use all-out defense to improve our save, we would get a ward save that's better, which is fine. And then this is the big new thing, Wave of Terror. Wave of Terror already exists, it just works differently. The new Wave of Terror, friendly Nighthaunt units that are in combat can use the charge abilities this phase. However, if a unit is in combat, uses a charge ability, and the charge roll is 3 or less, that unit does not count as having charge. This is different. What we would do, because all of our bonuses for the most part are based off of charging, what we used to do is they had a rule that we could retreat and charge in the same turn. So as it stands, to charge, you can't have run, and you can't have retreated. If you retreat or run, that unit can't charge. Nighthaunt could retreat and charge. So basically, the tech was retreating them 3 inches and then charging them back in 3 inches. Was just slamming over and over and over and over again. Because we're statistically the worst army in Age of Sigmar 3rd edition currently. But that's how you get the blunder going, as much as we can get it going. The damage output is not where it needs to be, but. And these are going to be Aura of Dreads, so they come off of the Wave of Terror kind of thing. So it's once per turn. You can do each of these once per turn. So you can Shriek, Stun, and Petrify. Shriek, you pick a friendly Nighthaunt unit that has not used an Aura of Dread, so it can't have used any of these other ones yet. This turn, then charge this turn to use this ability, then pick an enemy unit within 1 inch to be its target. The number of models in the friendly Nighthaunt unit must be greater than the number of models in the target unit. So you can't charge a group of 10 Grim Ghasts into a group of 20
unit must be greater than the number of models in the target
for this to go. It has to be.
You
have to have more ghosts. But you subtract 1 from hit rolls for the target attacks for the rest of the turns. They're nerfed in combat now, the enemy. Pretty good. Stun. You pick a friendly Nighthaunt War Machine, which we don't have a War Machine. Is this like saying that we're going to get one? That'd be interesting. I'm all for that. That'd be really cool. Or a Cavalry unit, which we have several of. That unit has not used an Aura of Dread and has charged. Subtract 1 from save rolls for the rest of the turn. So this just gives Ghosts an extra rend, essentially. A Cavalry unit or a War Machine, which we don't have. This gives us an additional rend if we charge. And then this one is if a hero that has not used an Aura of Dread charges, the target has Strike Last, which is significant. Because that means they're not going to be able to hit back until everything else is fought. So Petrify is good. Petrify is very good. I think Petrify is better than last edition. This I also think is better than last edition because of the loss of save stacking. This is fine. This is whatever. This one you just use on whatever. These two, I think, are a little bit more significant than last time. So I'm hoping that with the change of core rules, these are better. So our battle formation, the sub-faction that they're showing off, we are going to get 4 of them. Death Stalkers. There is no escape. Friendly Nighthaunt units can use charge abilities, even if they used a run or retreat ability in the same turn. In addition, no mortal damage is inflicted on Nighthaunt units by retreat abilities. Pretty good, but also at the same time, I don't know why we'd be retreating when we have the ability just to use the charge in combat now. This is where I'm confused. Because now we don't have to retreat to charge. We can charge while we're already in combat. So I don't know why that... Like, the running and charging is good. That means we're going to be able to get up the board way faster. Because running is basically you do your regular move, and then you roll a d6, and you move that much farther. So, but that means you can't charge normally. But the Nighthaunt with this subfaction means that I can do that and then still charge. Which, that's what I would use it for instead of the retreat. Because I don't know, again, I don't know why you'd use it when we can just charge in combat. That seems counterintuitive.
Well, no, because yeah, if it's like the same. You can't charge 3 or less. So I don't know. That seems weird. That seems like a weird thing, but it's fine. This spell, Shade Mist, is exactly the same as it is right now. This is currently in the game in the Night Haunt spell lore. It's the exact same. It goes off on a 6. You pick a visible Night Haunt unit that has 3 or more models and is wholly within 12 inches of the wizard casting it, and then you subtract 1 from wound rolls that target that unit until the start of your next turn. So it's pretty decent. Use that on like a big blob of dudes, and they're gonna be harder to kill, like harder to get rid of. It's fine. It's unlimited, so I guess you could cast it multiple times with different wizards if you want. I don't know. That seems kind of weird, but I don't know. Shade Mist, it's always been decent. It's not bad. It's always been decent, but it's just exactly the same as it is right now. Lady O. We got her rules. Lady Olinder, Mortarch of Grief. 4-up save, as with everything in the army. 7 health, 8-inch move is fast. 2 control, kind of low, but she is like a small hero. She's got a range attack, Horrifying Visage. 1 attack, 2s and 2s, 3 rend, D6 damage. Again, I don't like D6, D3 damage. I don't like that. I don't want the randomness. I'd rather just have, like on average, you're going to roll like a round of 3 probably on a D6. It's typically going to be like 3 or 4. I'd rather just have 3 or 4 than possibly getting a 1 or possibly getting a 6. It's fine, but it's got critical auto wound. So if you roll a 6 to hit, it automatically, you don't have to make a wound roll, which is significant. Ghosts have always done that. In 3rd edition, we just had an army rule that if we rolled a 6 to hit, it auto wound. So this has not changed. She didn't have this attack before. It used to be an ability, which I think the ability was better than the attack, but that's fine. Everything is changing. There's a lot less mortal wounds, and it caused a lot of mortal wounds in the current edition. This is fine. I don't like the D6 damage, but it's fine. Staff of Midnight, 4 attacks, 4s and 3s, 1 rend, D3 damage. Again, you're not really using her for melee attacks for the most part. The crit auto win helps. The D3 damage, again, I don't like that. She's fine in melee, but this is decent. You're mostly using her for buffs and debuffs. Once per battle in your hero phase, you can use No Rest for the Wicked. Your hero phase, specifically. Pick any number of friendly Night Haunt units on the battlefield to be the targets. For each target, you can return a number of slain models to that unit with a combined health characteristic of up to D3 plus 3. That's really good. So you can just heal. You heal every Night Haunt unit on the board. That's fantastic. And it's also better than last. She's had this ability forever, but it used to just be D3. D3 plus 3, solid. Pretty good. This, if you get this off before she dies, then like a critical moment could shift the game significantly. She's got her passive, Mortarch of Grief. Subtract 3 from the control scores of enemy units while they're within 12 inches of her. That's pretty good. If you're really contesting an objective, that -3 could be pretty significant. And then she's got her own spell. She's a 2-cast wizard. She's got a 4-up ward. So she's relatively survivable with her basically 4-up invulnerable save. And her 4-up ward. It's pretty... 7 health is low, but she's relatively survivable. Grief Stricken goes off on a 6. Pick a visible enemy unit within 18 inches, and then if you get a 6, you ignore positive modifiers to hit rolls, wound rolls, and save rolls for the target for the rest of the turn. I guess we'll see if, like... Oh, fucking ads. I guess we'll see if there's, like, a bunch of people that are buffing those things. Like, if there's a lot of people that are using, like, +1 to hit and +1 to wound, and, like, doing all these things? Positive modifiers.
Like, there's a lot of people that
this could be good
using
in that case.
+1 to hit and +1 to wound.
But I don't know
like,
how much this is going to get
positive
used.
Modifiers.
Being a 2-cast wizard, I guess you could just cast like a bunch of stuff from the lore of the Underworlds.
But I don't know how much this is going to get used.
I don't know.
Being a 2-cast wizard, I guess you could
be
just
okay,
cast
could
like
be
a
bad,
bunch of stuff from the lore of the Underworlds. But
yeah, Lady O, she's got a little bit of a nerf. I'll probably say, but
I guess we'll see.
She's fine. This
could
is
be okay,
significantly better, though. I will say that No Rest for the Wicked.
Yeah, Lady O, she's got a little bit of a nerf. I'll probably say.
Reichenor the Grim Hailer.
This is
love
Reichenor.
Reichenor.
I will say that No Rest for the Wicked.
Very
is
cool.
significantly better.
Big horse guy with a big scythe and cannon.
Reichenor the Grim Hailer.
4-up save like everybody else, 7 health. 12-inch move is fast because he's on a horse. his Scythe, Fell Reaper, 5 attacks, 3s and 3s, 2 rend, 2 damage is beefy. And if he charges, it's +1 damage. So if he charges, it's going to be 3 damage. And the fact that we can charge in combat, it's basically going to be 3 damage every time. Because I imagine that Nighthaunt players, we're probably going to be using a lot of the counter charge ability, which means we can charge in our opponent's turn. That's solid for him. 3 damage off 5 attacks is significant. That's solid. 3s and 3s is also not bad. It could... for who he is, 3s and 3s is fine. And then he's got his hooves and teeth on his... And it's auto wound, too. So if you get any 6s to hit, you don't have to roll wounds. It just automatically wounds. And then his horse's teeth and hooves. It doesn't... This is just here to be there. And then he's got his any hero phase ability. So any hero phase. That means every hero phase. You pick either this unit or a visible enemy unit within 12 inches of this unit to be the target. You allocate 1 damage point to that target. If you picked an enemy unit, you add 1 to the casting rolls for this unit for the rest of the turn. So he gets better at casting spells and gets a free damage off on an enemy unit. Or if you pick him, if you pick this unit, he takes a damage, and for the rest of the turn, you add 1 to casting rolls, and you add 1 to his power level, which his power level is how many spells he can cast. So every wizard has a power level, and that determines how many spells they can do. He's a wizard 1. So if you make him take a damage, he's +1 to cast spells, and he can cast 2 spells now, which is pretty good. He's got his own spell, goes off on a 7, Wraith Storm. You pick a visible enemy unit within 12 inches, and then inflict D3 mortal damage. D3 mortal damage on the target. If any models are slain by this ability, inflict an additional D3 mortal damage on the target. That's solid. That's really good. That'll just stack, basically. If you use this on like a 1 health, no ward save infantry unit, you're just going to get basically 2d3 mortals off on it easily. That's solid. Especially with this +1 to cast, it goes off on a 6, which is solid. It's pretty easy to cast on a 6. And then his passive, you add 1 to hit rolls and wound rolls for attacks made with this unit's Fell Reaper if the target is a priest or a wizard. So he's going to... If he's targeting... No, it's fine, dude. It's just my special ability. It is his special ability.
It is his special ability.
If he targets a wizard or a priest,
it
goes from 3s and 3s to 2s and 2s. With potentially 3 damage. He's going to be a menace. I think Ragnar is going to be a menace. Because this is just a lot of... He's like a damage output machine.
He's like a damage output machine.
I'm excited to play Ragnar. And since he's a hero and he's a cavalry, that means... come on now. That means for these, he can use either stun or petrify. So he could petrify an enemy wizard, which means they're going to get strike last. Or he could even make their save worse by stunning them. I think Ragnar is going to be really good. I'm excited for Ragnar. Cool. With our Dreadblade Harrows... These were funny in 3rd edition because they come in a box of 2, but a unit is 1 of them. They've changed that. I think they've said now they come in 2s. Yeah, they now double up in units of 2, which makes sense because they're sold in 2. It was always weird that buying 1 box got you 2 guys. I don't know. In 3rd edition, you probably wouldn't run them, honestly. They don't really do a whole lot. But anyways, 3 health each. 4 up save like everybody else. They move 12 inches because they're on a horse. Their damage output's fine. Their horse obviously doesn't matter. It's just there. 4 attacks each. 4s and 3s. 4 is not great. 4s and 3s. 2 damage. Crit auto wound. That's fine. 6 up ward like everybody else. Curse of Loyalty. It's a passive. If this unit charged this turn, you add 3 to the control scores of friendly Nighthaunt units while they are wholly within 12 inches. That's pretty good. So if he's charging, you're bumping up how hard it is for your opponents to contest an objective. Which it sounds like objective scores are pretty important in 4th edition, admittedly. So I'm hoping that it's not Battle Shock from 40k 10th edition.
Because like a lot of stuff in 40k 10th edition has to do with battle shock. Like, oh, if you're battle shocked, you get bonuses. If they're battle shocked, they take wounds. Battle shock, battle shock. Battle shock doesn't fucking matter in 40k 10th edition. So it matters a little bit, but it's not like a significant thing. Like all of the rules for a bunch of shit would make it out to be. So we'll see, I guess. If control scores matter more, hopefully they matter more. I'm hoping they do, because if they don't, there's a lot of units that I've seen that are going to be trash, but we'll see. And then he's got any movement phase, so every movement phase. Anything that says any just basically means every. Remove this unit from the battlefield and set it up again on the battlefield more than 9 inches from all enemy units. So you're just going to be hip-hopping this guy around the entire battlefield. Which it doesn't say he can't. This will mean he can't move once he does it, because it is a core movement ability. You can't use 2 core movement abilities in the same turn. So that will be his movement. But it also doesn't say he can't be in combat to do this. So you can take him. Boop. Boop. I think that'll be fun. These sound pretty decent as well, especially if you're just like trying to cap points or do secondaries that require you to be certain areas of the board. These guys are going to be a menace for that, I have a feeling. And then the last one, we got Miremorn Banshees. These are really cool models, first of all. But these they still kind of do it, but they used to eat spells. Basically, like they were just like a pretty easy way to, if somebody targets one of your dudes that are around them with a spell, there's a pretty high chance that they were just going to eat the spell on a low dice roll. Versus now, their combat profile's fine. Again, they don't really matter. They got 2 health each. That's better, I think, than last edition. And then Spell Eaters. So now they have to unbind. So if a friendly Night Haunt unit wholly within 12 inches of this unit was picked to be the target of that spell, this unit can use the Unbind ability as if it had a Wizard 1. Add 1 to the unbinding roll for that ability. If the spell is unbound, inflict D3 mortal damage on the caster. So now instead of just deflecting a spell, basically, now they're on like a single die roll. Now they're actively acting as an unbinding wizard, and then inflicting damage back on the person who tried to cast the spell, which is not bad. It's fine. I think they'll be okay. I don't think they'll be as auto-include as they are right now, though, because right now they're pretty auto-include for that reason. You just stick them around like heroes that people are going to target with spells, and then they're just kind of a menace against that. But I don't think they'll be as auto-include, but I think they're still... I mean, we'll have to see points, I guess, as well, because they're really cheap right now as well. Overall, Night Haunt, I think you're going to be fine. I think we'll be, like, marginally better. I think we'll be marginally better than the current edition, because these are a little bit simpler to get off. It's weird that, like, you can only do 1 of each per turn, which is kind of not great, but I don't know. We'll have to see, like, how much damage the basic infantry units are doing. Because basically right now, our problem is that, like, we are pretty paper. The 4-up save isn't great. We have, like, 1 wound each for infantry and stuff. So we're pretty easy to kill. And we just don't have the damage output to really deal with it. But we'll see. I'm hoping that they're better than I'm assuming they'll be. So here's hoping. Who's next? Look how cool they all look. God damn. Who's next? Cities of Sigmar. I have never played Cities of Sigmar, nor have I played against Cities of Sigmar. I know they just got a bunch of new models. They had like a big range refresh relatively recently, so. Hopefully this is good for them. God, some of these are really cool. Cities of Sigmar are basically just the regular people of the setting. They're just dudes. They're soldiers. Some of them are dwarves, some of them are elves. Most of them are humans. At least right now. They'll probably get more added, but the idea is that it's just they're regular people. They're just the everyman. Fighting against ghosts and goblins and ogres and chaos demons. They're just dudes. But, you know, they're cool. They're fine. Some of their new models look really cool, I will also say. This one in particular, I know you can't really see it from this distance, but it's really cool. I forget what he's called, but they are the everyman.
Flesh Eater Quartz. These are all really neat. I don't know what this is, this guy on a chair, but he's kind of cool looking. I like that. I like all the filigree and stuff. Okay, what are... Oh, God. Lots of rules. Here are their battle traits. Here are their army rules. In your movement phase, you can advance in formation. Pick a friendly Cities of Sigmar hero that is not used in officers... Okay, so these are all officers' orders. So, pick a friendly Cities of Sigmar hero that is not used in officer's order ability this turn to use this ability. Then pick a friendly Cities of Sigmar unit wholly within 12 inches of that hero and not in combat to be the target. If the target is human, you can pick an additional Cities of Sigmar unit wholly within 12 of that hero and not in combat. Okay, so this seems like a hero, like a human stacking one. Each target can move 3 inches. Each target cannot move into combat during any part of the move. Okay. That's not bad. That's fine. You get an additional 3 inches of movement. Any charge phase, so every charge phase. Pick a friendly Cities of Sigmar hero that has not used an officer's order. Pick a friendly Cities of Sigmar unit that charged this turn and is wholly within 12 inches of that hero. Add 1 to the attack characteristics of melee weapons for the rest of the turn. In addition, if the target is an elf unit, add 1 to hit rolls. That's pretty good. So this is like the elf one. Only if they've charged. But again, there's a lot of charging in Age of Sigmar. So that's not bad. That's pretty good. Suppressing fire any shooting phase, so every shooting phase. Pick a Cities of Sigmar hero that hasn't used Officer's Order. Pick a Cities of Sigmar unit wholly within 12 inches of the hero. Each time the target uses a shoot ability this phase, if all of its attacks are target the same enemy unit. After the ability has been resolved, roll a dice. If the result is equal to or less than the number of models in the enemy unit that were slain by shooting attacks this phase, that enemy unit has the strike last keyword for the rest of the turn. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I like that. I don't know how much... I think they have a lot of shooting, which that's like a pretty... Strike last is good. I think it's going to be strong. Solid. And then they have Hold the Line. Again, Cities of Sigmar hero that hasn't used an officer's order, then pick a Sigmar unit within 12 inches of the hero that did not charge this turn, specifically. The target has the strike last effect, and the ward of 5+ for the rest of the turn. In addition, if the target is Dwarden, subtract 1 from hit rolls for combat attacks that target that unit for the rest of the turn. I guess if you're holding a point, but still strike last is like a pretty significant hit to take. I don't know. We'll see. Again, I think strike last is going to be decently significant. This, like a ward of 5+ is solid. It's fine. I think that'll be pretty good too. And then their battle formation, so like their sub-faction that they're getting shown off. Friendly Cities of Sigmar unit that have the fortified position ability.
I think strike
start
last
the first
is gonna
battle
be
round
decent.
in a fortified position.
Like a ward of 5+ is solid.
Okay. In addition, for the first battle round,
That's fine.
subtract
I think
1
that'll be
from
pretty
wound
good, too.
rolls for attacks that target
And
friendly
their
Cities of
battle
Sigmar units while they are wholly
So
within.
like their sub-faction that they're
friendly
getting shown off. Friendly Cities of Sigmar unit that have the fortified position ability start the first battle round in a fortified position.
Really
Like
specific and is only apparently going to help
Okay.
you in the first
addition,
battle round,
for the
which
first
not much
battle round,
happens in the
subtract
first
1
battle.
from wound.
I guess if you're up against like a really heavily shooting army, that could be good. But like the battlefield is usually big enough, unless they're messing with deployment zones. The battlefield's usually big enough that if you're a melee army, you're not going to be getting in melee combat with most of your guys, unless you're Slanesh, unless like you're running and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. I don't know. That could be fine if you're playing hella defensively. Other than that, though, that's not... I think that's kind of weak, admittedly. Alright, they have... What is this, a spell? Let me sip my Fago. Speed of the Twin-Tailed Comet. 7 to cast. Pick a visible, friendly Cities of Sigmar unit wholly within 12 inches of the wizard. Until the start of your next turn, add 1 to the number of dice rolled when making charge rolls. Holy shit, that's actually really good. Jesus, alright. So using this, you're going to give a unit just the ability to 3d6 charge, which is solid. If you get like a big beefy unit, 3d6 charge is... That's pretty good. You're going to be hitting something, probably. Yeah, that's solid. I don't need to even say anything else about that. That's really good. Thalia Verda. Lioness of the Parch. I don't know what this model even looks like, honestly. I could not tell you what this model is. 4 up save, 15 health, 5 control. That's okay. Is there a ward? 6 up ward. It can fly. Interesting. Weapon of Office, 6 attack, 3s and 4s, 1 rend, 2 damage. That's okay. Infernadine's Leonine Jaws. Okay. 3 attacks, 3s, 2s, 2 rend, 3 damage. Anti-monster plus 1 rend. That's fine. And then the Scorpid Stinger of the Infernadine. 4s, 2s, 3s, D3 plus 3. You already know my rant about D3, D6 damage shit. I don't like that. But this is a pretty stacked combat profile, I guess. That's high damage. These are all high damage. And the anti-monster plus 1 rent's pretty good. She's fighting something. And she has 10 or more damage points allocated to her. Her attacks goes down to 2. So it goes down by 1, which is not crazy significant. Man, bracketing used to be way bigger in Sigmar 3, I'm realizing. These are all like really minute. She's got a passive, Unparalleled Tactician. When this unit uses an Officer's Order ability, you can pick an additional friendly Cities of Sigmar unit. So some of them already that one already lets you pick an additional one, but I guess so now you can pick 3 with that one, or you can pick 2 with any of the others. That's pretty good. I like that. That's solid. Once per battle, any combat phase. So he uses once per battle. If this unit is in combat, pick up to 3 other Cities of Sigmar units wholly within 12 inches of this unit to be the targets. For each target, you can return a number of slain models to that unit with a combined health characteristic of up to 3. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. It doesn't say that... Yeah, it does it in combat, too. It doesn't say that the other units can't be in combat. That's going to be pretty significant. You're bringing back like a handful of dudes every time. That's like nothing to scoff at. And then once per turn, any combat phase, so every combat phase, Paralyzing Venom. You pick an enemy monster that is charged this turn, is in combat with this unit to be the target. Roll a dice on a 3+ that has Strike Last. That's fine. Again, Strike Last, I think it'll be significant, so that sounds pretty good, especially on a 3+. Only to monsters, though, is kind of... I guess she's kind of like the monster fighter, but we'll see. That sounds fine. She's a monster herself. I think they're going to add the monster keyword to a lot more stuff. I have a feeling. Because there's a lot of, like... There's not a lot of monsters in Age of Sigmar 3. So, I think they're going to add that keyword more. Because I've seen a lot of anti-monster stuff happening in a lot of these War Scrolls. I like this guy. He's cool. Fusel Major on Ogor Warhulk. Hey, I'm starting to build an Ogre army. This is not an Ogre. He's way too thin. 3 up save, 8 health. Ooh, pretty good. 5-inch move, kind of slow. Long Fusel. He's got a 24-inch attack, crit auto hit, and anti-hero. So if you're targeting a hero with it, it gets an additional rend. 3 3s and 3s, 1 rend and 2 damage. That's not bad, especially 24-inch range. That's not bad. And then the mace, 4s, 2s, 2 rend, 2 damage. That's fine. I think some factions are just doing base 2 damage from their infantry, but that's fine. Shooting phase, mark targets. You pick an enemy unit. Your shooting phase, excuse me. Pick an enemy unit that was targeted by this unit's shooting attacks to be the target. Add 1 to hit rolls for shooting attacks made by friendly Cities of Sigmar human units that target that unit. Okay, so this is like the Gene Stealer cult thing. You're just making it easier to hit, like Crossfire. Is it Crossfire? I forget what it's called for Gene. I don't think it does the same thing for Gene Stealer cults 40k. I'm crazy. That's pretty good. If you're playing a pretty shooting-heavy list, that's like pretty significant. And then your movement phase. This is a core ability, so it will replace the movement that you normally get. Fortified position. This unit establishes a fortified position and remains in a fortified position until it either uses a move ability or is removed from battle. While this unit is in a fortified position, subtract 1 from the rend characteristic of weapons used for attacks that target this unit. That's pretty good. Especially with rend numbers lower outside of like pretty significantly big units. That's pretty good. I can see this guy being pretty decent. I don't know. I think the ranged part's better than this part, but we'll see. Free Guild Cavaliers. 3 up save, solid. 3 health each, solid. Pretty survivable. No ward or anything. 10-inch move, horses, yep. Cavalier weapons, 4s, 4s. Ooh, 1 rend and 1 damage. Plus 1 damage on a charge. 4s and 4s is still not great. And then the horse, nobody gives a shit. The horse is bad. Devastating charge, any charge phase. every charge phase. If this unit charged this phase, pick an enemy unit within 1 inch to be the target. Roll a dice for each model in this unit that is in combat. For each 4+, inflict a mortal damage on the target. That's pretty good. I don't know how many. 5? These come in 5s. So what you could do, it's going to be 5s if you just have a base unit, but if you have a reinforced unit of 10 of them, it's 10 dice that you're rolling to do this ability with. That's not bad. That's pretty good. That's basically like a lot of things have that right now, I feel like. Like the Hex Raids for the Night Haunt, I think have that same ability like currently right now, but that's not bad. I think the melee profile could be better. 4s and 4s is kind of not the best, but it's fine. It's not the worst I've ever heard. I'm sure there's also ways to improve that. I think what is the order thing? Where's the like order? I think that improves it, doesn't it? This adds more attacks. Guess I'm wrong. I don't know. 4s and 4s is kind of low, but I'm sure there'll be a way to give them +1 to hit or something, or you can just use the ability. Then this is like, I guess, the basic troop unit. So Free Guild Steel Helms, 4-up save, not horrible. 1 health each. You know, they're just guys. It looks like it'll be a unit of 10 of them. Oh yeah, 2 attacks each. 4s and 4s, no rend, 1 damage is not no keywords, but not a damage dealing unit. Once per turn in your movement phase, consecrate land. If this unit is contesting an objective you control that is not contested by any enemy models, roll a dice. On a 3+, that objective is considered by you to be consecrated. While each model in a friendly Cities of Sigmar human unit is contesting a consecrated objective, that unit has ward 5+. If your opponent gains control of the consecrated objective, is no longer consecrated. That's pretty good for holding like a backline objective. That's not bad. I think their ability, honestly, is like pretty good, but you can only use it once per turn army-wide. So you can't use this on like a bunch of guys. You can use it for 1 unit each of your movement phases, specifically. That's not bad. I think that's like pretty decent, actually. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, I don't know. That's honestly like a fine ability. Their melee profile and everything's fine, but I'm assuming you don't want them in melee if you want them on objectives that aren't being contested. That's pretty good. I don't know. That'll be fine. Oh, there's that model that I was talking about. That's a better picture of it. Look at how cool that thing is. This fucking cauldron. He's like a blacksmith or something. I'd buy that just to paint it because it's so cool. I don't have any interest in playing Cities of Sigmar, but like, oh yeah, they have tanks too, which is weird. It's just so cool. It's such a cool model. I'd paint it all fucked up though. Painted like a Nurgle guy or something. Cities of Sigmar sound fine. I think some of their units sound kind of weak, but I think that's kind of the point. I think they're more of a horde, if I'm remembering right. I don't know though, but I don't know. They're fine. They're fine for what they are. Skipping the spearhead. Who's next? Caradron Overlords. My friend in my playgroup is building Caradron Overlords at least a little bit. I don't know how they play at all. I've never played against them because I don't think he has enough points to play them currently. But they're hyper-capitalist steampunk dwarves that live in the sky on airships with guns. That's the thing. If you like steampunk dwarves and or capitalism, that's the thing. What, the backpack on him? It's a blimp. They come down on like balloons. They have balloon things on their back. They hover around. They fly. Like, that's like he's coming out of the air. Yeah, that's their whole thing. Yeah, like, look at them. They have like big balloon float things.
Coming out of the air.
Their models look pretty cool. I'm just not a fan of like steampunk or dwarves.
Yeah, like look at them.
Like, I could just
they have like big balloon
I could take it to
float things.
Yeah.
Their models look
fighting
pretty
this.
cool. I'm just not a fan of like steampunk.
Oh, those are
dwarves,
gits.
so like I could just take it or leave it, but
I like the purple.
I could take it or leave it.
Anyways,
Yeah.
fighting corn. Yeah, they have
Who are even
guns. They just
fighting
have
this?
like
Who
they
is that?
actively have guns, which is kind of
Oh,
fun.
those are gits.
Their army rules.
I like the
Once per battle deployment phase,
Anyways,
pick a friendly
fighting
sky
guns.
vessel that is part
Yeah, they
of
have
a
guns. They
regiment
just have-
from
they actively
which
have
no
guns,
units
which
have
is
been
kinda fun.
deployed. Then pick a number of units
their
up
army
to its
rules.
transport capacity.
Once per battle,
That are in its
deployment
regiment.
phase, pick a
Set
friendly
up
sky
all of
vessel
those
that
units
is part
in
of a
reserve in
regiment
the clouds.
to
They now
which
have been
no
deployed.
units have been
Alright,
deployed.
so
Then pick a number of units up to its
Is this going to be another army rule? This is deep strike?
that are in
Are
its
we
regiment.
deep striking from an army
Set up
rule again?
all of those
There's so
units
many of
in
them.
reserve in the clouds. They now have been deployed.
It's fine.
Alright, so is this
And then
gonna
in
be
your
another
movement
army rule,
phase, you
which is
descend
deep
from the
strike?
clouds.
Are we deep striking from an army
Pick a friendly sky vessel in the clouds to use his ability. Set up that sky vessel anywhere on the battlefield more than 9 inches from all enemy units. Then set up all other units that were set up in the clouds with that sky vessel wholly within 6 inches of it and more than 9 inches from all enemy units.
Anywhere on the battlefield more
So is
than
this
9
just like
inches
transports
from all
plus
enemy
deep
units, then
strike?
set up
You're just
all
deep
other
striking
units that were set up
transports,
in the
therefore
clouds
deep
with
striking
that
like
sky
multiple
vessel
units
wholly
that are
within
that.
6
I mean
inches of
that
it
could
and more
be.
than 9 inches from all
I don't
enemy
know what their units are like.
So
If
it's
you
just
have
like
like a big punchy
transports
one
plus
that you want
deep
to just like,
strike. You're just deep striking
or like a couple of them. I don't know how
therefore
big
deep
these ships
striking
are.
like multiple units.
I don't know how much
That-
their
I mean,
transport
that could
capacity is.
be. I
But
don't
if you
know
can get
what
like
the
a
units
couple
are like.
squads of like
If
some
you have, like,
beefy
a big
dudes
punchy
in, and then
one
just
that
like
you wanna
drop
just,
them
like,
off
move,
somewhere, that's
or
not
like a
bad.
couple of them. I
That's
don't know
like a
how
pretty
big these
decent
ships
thing.
are. I don't know
They
how
have a
much their transport
reaction.
capacity is.
You declared a
But if you can get, like,
non-charge
a couple
move
squads
ability
of, like,
for a
some
friendly
beefy
sky
dudes
vessel.
in and then just like drop them
Um,
off somewhere. That's not.
Used by the
That's
sky
not
vessel
pretty
using
decent.
that move ability. Pick a number of
They have a
units up to that
reaction.
sky vessel's
You declared a
transport capacity
non-charge move ability
that are wholly
for a
within
friendly
6
sky
inches
vessel.
of it to be the targets.
Um,
Units that have been
used by
transported
the
this
sky
turn
vessel
cannot be
using that
targets.
ability. Pick
Remove
a
the
number
targets
of
from the
units up
battlefield
to that
after the sky
vessel's
vessel ends its
transport
move.
capacity
You must set
that
up
are wholly
each
within
target
6
unit
inches of it to
on
be
the battlefield
targets.
wholly within 6
Units that
inches of
have
the
been
sky vessel
transported
and
this
not in
turn cannot be
combat.
targets.
Those units
Remove the
have been
targets from the
transported.
battlefield after
A
the
unit
sky
cannot
vessel
use the
ends
charge
its move,
ability.
you must
Use
set
charge
up each
abilities if
target
it was
unit
transported in the same
on
turn.
the battlefield wholly within
That's
6
fine.
inches of the sky vessel and not in combat.
You're
Those
just moving
units
dudes
have
faster,
been
I'm
transported.
assuming. With that, it's just like a transport that you can't stay in, like in 40k. Like it's like a rhino that you just can't live in, which is fine. And then they have a passive sky vessel cover. Subtract 1 from hit rolls for shooting attacks that target friendly Karajan Overlord's infantry units while they are wholly within 6 inches of an Arcanaut ironclad or an Arcanaut frigate. That's fine. That's pretty good. I don't know how much shooting there is going to be in the game. I imagine this would significantly hurt some armies versus others because ghosts, for example, have like 3 people to shoot in the entire army. You're not hurting me with that. And their battle formation, so the sub-faction they're showing off. Engineers Guild Expeditionary Force. Special procurement.
Special.
Pick a friendly, non-unique Karajan Overlord's hero that does not have an artifact of power. Give that hero 1 artifact of power from the inventions of the Skyports. Oh boy, here's some of them. Here are the artifacts of power for the Karajan Overlords. Once per battle, any shooting or combat phase, you can use Blaze Beard and Sons Drac Hobbler Mag Bolus. Say that 10 times fast. Say it from memory. Don't look at your book while you're playing the Karajan Overlord. Say the thing from memory. Pick an enemy monster within 12 inches of this unit to be the target. Until the start of your next turn, subtract 1 from the number of dice rolled when making charge rolls for the target to a minimum of 1. Once per battle is low. If this was like once per round, it'd probably be pretty good. Once per battle is subtracting 1. Oh, from the number of dice rolled. Never mind. I thought it was subtract 1 from the fucking charge. 1 from the dice rolled. All right, no, that's actually all right. No, once per battle on that. Once per battle. Do not increase that. That's really good. That's really good. I'm an idiot. Once per battle in your shooting phase. Pick an enemy unit within 12 inches of this unit to be the target. Ward rolls cannot be made for the target for the rest of the turn. That's pretty good if you're fighting something with a high ward. Lady Olander with her 4 of ward or something. It's not bad. Once per battle reaction, opponent declared a spell ability for a wizard within 30 inches. Voidstone Orb. That spell is on. So you don't even, you just pick. Oh, you cast that? No. No, you don't. You didn't actually cast the spell. That's fine too. Once per battle. This one being one, I guess all of them being once per battle makes sense. Otherwise, they'd be pretty insane. Excuse me. Well, these are fine. What's happening? These are fine. I don't know. You give an extra. So normally you can give like 1 dude in your army an artifact of power. This sub-faction, I guess, just lets you give a second one. So you can have 2 of these instead of 1 on dudes, which isn't bad. All right. Brock Grungson, Lord Magnate of Barak-Nar. 12-inch move, 3-up save, 8 health. Pretty good. Advertisement on my music. How dare you? 2 control. 3-up save's pretty decent. No word. He's got guns. Grungson's Boast, 18-inch, 1 attack, 3s, 2s. What do I say every time? I don't like the D3. D3 plus 3 is better, though, because it's at least guaranteed 4 damage, which is solid. For 1 attack, though, I feel like we can go a little higher. The Magnate's Charter, 6 attacks, 3s, 3s, 1, 2. Oh, it can shoot in combat, too. That's pretty good. That's not a bad profile at all. And then the Aethermatic Saw, 5 attacks, 3s, 3s, 2 rend, 2 damage. That's also pretty good. He's not bad in combat. Any combat phase, so every combat phase. Pick up the 2 other friendly Skyfarer units within this unit's combat range to be the targets. Add 1 to the attack characteristic of target's melee weapons for the rest of the turn. That's solid. Who were we looking at earlier that has to like jump over hoops to give? Oh, the Rat Ogres, where you have to damage them to give them extra attacks. This guy just does it for free. That's kind of weird. I don't know how good their melee combat is going to be, but plus 1 attack is never bad. I feel like it increases your statistics significantly. And once per battle in your movement phase, pick up to 3 visible sky vessels wholly within 24 inches of this unit that are not in combat. Each target can use a run ability and still uses shoot and or charge abilities. That's solid. That's really good. 3 of them is good. That's a good ability. Once per battle makes sense. End of any turn, so end of every turn. Pick an enemy unit in combat with this unit to be the target. Roll a d3 on a 2+, inflict an amount of mortal damage on the target equal to the roll. That's fine. There's a little cheeky little extra damage. That's fine. I have no problem. This guy sounds pretty good. I don't know what he does right now, so I don't know if this is a downgrade or a buff, but that sounds fun. Mustache-mounted Aether Blaster. That's okay. Guns right here. I don't know, that sounds cool. Arcanaut Frigate. Alright, so this is one of the ships that they're talking about. This one gives cover? Does this one give cover? Yes, the Arcanaut Frigate. So this would benefit from their passive that they have in the army rule. 3 up save, 15 health. Good lord have mercy. No ward, though. That's fine. Aether Shot Carbines, 4 attacks, 3s, 3s, 1 rend, 2 damage. Shoot in combat, that's fine. It's a fine profile. Heavy Sky Cannon. Oh, you pick? Oh, you pick either the Heavy Sky Cannon or Heavy Sky Hook. Okay. So you're either getting 4s and 2s, 2 rend, d3 plus 1, or 4s and 3s, 2 rend, d6 with anti-monster plus 1 rend. Those are fine. Again, I don't like the randomness of the damage characteristics. I wish they would not do this as often as they do, but that's fine. And then boarding weapons is just kind of trash. 4s and 4s, no rend, 1 damage. It's better than some trash things, but eh. Your charge phase, Assault Boat. This unit cannot use this ability if it is in combat or is used a run or retreat ability this turn, unless I guess this dude does his once per battle thing, then it can. Pick a number of units up to its transport capacity that are wholly within 6 of it and have not charged this turn to be the targets, then make a charge roll of 2d6. Remove the targets from the battlefield, then this unit can move a distance up to the value of the charge roll, and must end the move within half an inch of an enemy visible unit. Then set up the targets wholly within this unit's combat range. The targets can be set up in combat and have first strike, or strike first for the rest of the turn. This unit and the targets are charged. That's solid, so you're just getting to use the boat to charge a bunch of stuff all at the same time. You better hope that it gets in, I guess. Oh, and you can't move it either. It's a core. Oh no, it's in your charge phase, so I guess it's a core ability. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Transport capacity, you can do 2 friendly Karajan Overlord's infantry units with a combined model count of up to 12. Okay. That seems like a good amount. It's either these go down by 2 attacks if it's damaged. It's fine. That's not that significant. Medium bomb racks. Pick an enemy unit that does not have fly, and then this unit passed across this phase to be the target. Roll 6 dice for each 4+. Inflict a mortal damage on the target. That's pretty good. That's just basically what the AdMech used to do, except it was significantly more dangerous in 9th edition 40k, but that's pretty good. Especially with a 12-inch move and fly, you're just like kind of hovering over a bunch of dudes. It's like a bombing run. That's pretty cool. These sound good. Arcanaut Frigate. Sky Wardens. Is this? We got 2 more. Sky Wardens, 4 up save, 2 health each. no ward. 12-inch move, solid. Are these the bubble boys? So 1 out of 3 of them can replace their weapons with an Aethermatic volley gun, and then one out of 3 of them can replace with the Skyward. Okay. Okay, so they're basically using all of these. Just one of each of them is going to have one of each. Or one of each of them is going to have a different one. Vulcanizer pistol. You can shoot in combat, 3 attacks, 3s, 3s. That's fine. Aethermatic volley gun, 15 inches, 2d6 attacks. I don't mind that as much as I mind the damage roll. 4s and 4s, no rend, 1 damage, but a crit is 2 hits. So that's, you know, they're just trying to get, I guess you're going wide instead of trying to just do a lot of single damage. And then Skyward and Heavy Weapon, 15, 1 attack, 4s and 3s, 1 rend, d3 damage, monster, 1 rend. That's not great. It's not the best. Sky Pike, 2 damage, 2 attack. The gun butt's trash, but the Sky Pike, 3s and 3s, 1 rend, 2. Oh, crit mortal. So if you get a 6 to hit, it just does mortal damage instead of a regular wound. That's pretty good. Crit mortal is like dev wounds, which if it's gonna be anything like 40k, is gonna be a nightmare. At the end of any turn, so at the end of every turn, time charges. Pick an enemy unit in combat with this unit to be the target. Roll a d3 on a 2+. Inflict an amount of mortal damage on the target equal to the roll. This unit can immediately use the retreat ability as if it were your movement phase without any mortal damage being inflicted to it. So you're just like, bomb. That's pretty good. I like that. That's just another one of those things where on a d3, a 2+ would mean a 3+. Which is not a, that's like a pretty good chance. It's like a, what, 66% chance? I think that'll be good. I think like a lot of these abilities will be like pretty decent. And I can forgive some of their like low damage, I guess, because they're doing this every turn. And this is, again, any turn, so it means every turn. And then we have Grundstock Thunderers. It looks like they come in 5s. Goofy. 3-up save, solid for a ranged unit, and then 2 health. 4-inch move is slow. Lots of different, they can change their guns around some in the unit, so you can like change their loadout for however you want them to be, I guess. Aether Shot Rifle, 2 attacks, 3s, 4s, 1, oh, not great. 1 rend, 1 damage. The range is good though. Aetheric Fumigator or Deck Sweeper, 10 inches, 5 attacks, 3s, 4s, rend 1. Anti-infantry +1 rend, and it can shoot in combat. That's a solid one. And then a mortar or Aether Cannon, 2 attacks, 4s, 3s, 1 rend, d3. Again, don't like d3 damage stuff. The melee profile nobody gives a shit about. Your shooting phase, you can hold this position. If it's not used a move ability this turn, it was not set up this turn, this unit's ranged can have they have shoot in combat for those turns. So if they get bogged down in combat, they can shoot in combat if they don't move, which you know, that's fine. That's not bad. I don't know, they sound fine. They sound fine for like a cheap ranged unit, but whoa, that paint scheme on them is crazy. I like that. It's really cool looking. Again, I don't know what Caradon Overlords are like. They sound fun. They sound like you're going to be using a lot of these boats to kind of move things around and do some goofy stuff. I don't think it's a bad thing. Like, I feel like the boats are like a pretty big selling point of them, admittedly. Like, all of the art and all of the stuff always has boats all over it, so I don't know. We'll see. I think that's pretty good. They sound entertaining. I'm sure there'll be some shenanigans they can do with these boats. If wording isn't specific enough with stuff that will make for fun moments together with your friends while you're playing your fun casual game of Warhammer Age of Sigmar 4th edition. Alright, who we got next? We're getting through them. We're on 7 of 19. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 left. I don't know if I'm getting through all these today. We might have to come back another day and keep going. Is that okay with you all? I'm going to keep going for a little bit longer, but I don't know if I'm going to like get through. I'm not going to get through all of these. Especially a couple of them that I have read, I have a lot to say about. It's fine. Tzeentch! I have read the Tzeentch one. One of my friends intends to build Tzeentch. I have not played against Tzeentch, and I don't have Tzeentch. Oh, God. Tzeentch just sounded really good this edition. It sounded really good. It's pretty cool. They get, like, flying stingrays and, like, bird people. Yeah. Look at that giant bird. That's Kairos Fate Weaver. All these little dudes. They're cool. I like the aesthetic of Tzeentch. I prefer the other Chaos Demons, though. 24-hour stream, let's go. God, I'd be exhausted. I don't know if I can do that. Alright. I love the paint scheme. I love the blues and pinks, like, mashing together on Tzeentch stuff. It's very cool. Alright, battle traits. Every Tzeentch thing gets these. That's a lot of words. Masters of Destiny, deployment phase. Roll 9. Oh god. Alright. Roll 9 dice and place them to one side. These are your Destiny dice. Destiny dice can be spent during the battle to change certain dice rolls. You can never have more than 9 Destiny dice at once. During the battle, instead of making a roll from the list below for a friendly Disciples of Tzeentch unit, you can spend your Destiny dice. The roll you would have made is replaced with the roll on the Destiny dice you spend. If you want to replace a 2d6 roll, 3d6 roll, etc., you must spend a number of Destiny dice equal to the number before d6. So you can't, like, use one dice to replace one number of a 2d6 roll. So you can't, like, do a charge roll and roll one of them and then replace the other one with a fate dice. You have to roll two. You have to use 2 fate dice at the same time. Any rolls that have been replaced count as unmodified rolls, and they cannot be re-rolled. They cannot be changed, and they cannot be modified by other friendly abilities, but they can be modified by enemy abilities. You cannot spend Destiny dice to replace re-rolls. That's smart. That's good. They can be spent and place the following rolls: casting rolls, unbinding rolls, banishment rolls, run rolls, charge rolls, hit rolls, wound rolls, save rolls. Oh, charge rolls in your turn, excuse me. So counter charge, you can't use them. That's a lot of things they can be used on. I think these are going to be good. If you get a lucky roll at the beginning, that's, like, pretty solid. I imagine there will be some tricky shit on some of their units and, like, oh, re-roll some fate dice or get some more Destiny dice or whatever. But you can't have more than 9. The fact that it says you can't have more than 9 means to me that there's probably going to be some stuff that gives you more of them. Which is already powerful. We don't need to give them more than 9. 9 is more than enough. It's totally fine. And then once per turn, any shooting phase, so every shooting phase, only one unit can use this. Conflagration of Tzeentch. Pick an enemy unit that had any damage points allocated to it with this turn with the Word Flame spell abilities or shooting attacks made with weapons that have the Word Flame weapons ability to be the target. The target has the burning keyword. Crazy. Especially because there's a bunch of stuff that happens when you're burning. Pretty solid. Once per turn army, end of any turn, so end of every turn. Burning Word Flame. Roll a d3 for each burning enemy unit. On a 2 to 3, inflict an amount of mortal damage on that unit equal to the roll. On a 1, that unit is no longer has the burning keyword. So basically you roll a d6. A d3 is a d6. This is like a 3-up. It's going to do damage to it. On a 1 or a 2, it's no longer burning. But that's solid. Every turn. Remember, any turn means every turn. And then they have a passive, Quenching the Flames. If a burning enemy unit uses an ability that would heal or return slain models to it, instead of healing or returning slain models to it, that unit no longer has the burning keyword. That's really good. Things like that used to give the choice of, do you want to heal the unit or get rid of the bad status effect? Like Nurgle, for example, used to do the disease mechanic. And if you gave plagues to enemy units, they would choose, do you want to get rid of the disease point or heal the unit? But now, this, and spoiler alert, the Nurgle one, if they're diseased or they're burned, they have to get rid of that. They can't heal the unit. So if there's like a really heavy recursion theme or healing theme in your army, Tzeentch and, spoiler alert, Nurgle are going to kind of be a nightmare. Going to kind of be a nightmare to go up against. These are really good. Their abilities are really good. Their battle formation, so the sub-faction that they're showing off. Word Flame Host. Mutagenic Inferno. Subtract 1 from wound rolls for attacks made by burning enemy units.
That's significant. Everything is now much worse the further you spread this burning, which you're going to be spreading it every turn, because this is every turn, basically. So yeah, this is significant. Things are going to be, it's going to be a rough one. Then they showed off this spell. It goes off on a 7, transform to spawn. Pick a friendly disciple of Tzeentch Wizard, and then pick an enemy unit within 12 inches of them, and then make a casting roll. Inflict D3 mortal damage on the target. If any models are slain by this ability, pick a friendly Chaos Spawn of Tzeentch unit that is in reserve as a potential fate. You don't know what that means, I don't think. Or that has been destroyed. If you picked a unit in reserve as a potential fate, set it up on the battlefield in combat with a target. If you picked a unit that has been destroyed, set up an identical replacement unit on the battlefield in combat with a target. That's pretty good. You're just bringing back things. It's pretty good. Yeah, just spawning in new whole units of things is wild. And we do have this Waves of Mutation. Each time a Chaos Spawn of Tzeentch unit can be replaced any number of times. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that necessarily means. If anybody has any kind of keys to what that means, I don't really. I guess you could just keep. You can use this to keep bringing it back. I don't know. I don't know what that means. Each friendly Chaos Spawn of Tzeentch unit can be replaced any number of times. Okay, I don't know. I guess if something is destroyed twice, maybe you can't keep bringing it back, but Chaos Spawns you can. Either way, that's pretty good. That sounds fine. Oh, we got Kairos Fate Weaver. Big two-headed bird guy. Where's the picture? Where's the picture? He was up here somewhere. He was up here. This thing. Big bird man with two heads. One head sees into the future. One head sees the past. I think that's how it is. Is that how it is? I think that's how it is. Kairos Fate Weaver. 5-up save, trash. 5-up ward, a little bit better. 5-up save is trash. 16 wounds, 16 health. 12-inch move, 5 control, standard. The melee profile, I don't think anybody, it doesn't really matter. These are fine. It's a big thing, so it's going to do a decent amount of damage, but it's not hitting and wounding as strongly as it probably could be. And then the curved beaks goes down by 2 if it's damaged. So if it has 6 health, it goes down to 3 instead of 5 attacks. Mastery of Magic is a passive. When you make a casting roll for this unit, you can change the lowest d6 to match the highest d6. He's a wizard 3, so he's casting 3 spells. Every time you can just, was one of the dice a 5 and the other one is a 2? Now they're both 5s. Every time you cast a spell with him, he's going to be casting a lot of spells. He's going to be going wild with that shit. And Tzeentch is a very magic-heavy army. At least they are right now in 3rd edition. If that's still the case, Kairos Fate Weaver is going to be pretty wild. Once per battle reaction, you declared the Tactical Gambit ability. So, in Age of Sigmar, each of your turns you pick a battle tactic, which is like a secondary objective. You pick it from a list, typically... I don't know if it's going to be the same, but right now, factions have their own, and then there's core ones you can also use. Basically, they're a secondary objective that if you complete it during your turn, you get an additional 2 victory points towards the score of the game to win. But if you fail it, you can never pick that one again. So his is once per battle. Once you've picked one, you can use this. You can either pick one battle tactic that you've already attempted. So if you failed at one, and you want to try it again, you can repick it and do it again. Or you can read the future and you can pick 2 battle tactics that you have not yet attempted. But you can only complete one of them, even if you meet the conditions to complete both. The other does not count as having been attempted. If you do not complete either of them, you can pick which one does not count as having been attempted. Both of these are really good. If it's anything like current 3rd edition, there's going to be incredibly easy battle tactics. Like, have more units outside of your deployment zone than that are in your deployment zone. Easy. That's like done by like round 1. For most armies. Shooting armies, maybe not. Most armies, most of your stuff's going to move up. In which case, you can just do that twice. That's just
easy free points. And then the 2-1, you have a double the chance of possibly achieving a battle tactic, which is always good. That's a really strong ability. Kairos Fate Weaver has sounded really good. He's a beacon of sorcery, so he adds 1 to casting rolls and unbinding rolls for Tzeentch wizards while they're within 12 inches of him. Solid. Stack up. We're all Shadow Wizard Money Gang. We love casting spells, is what Kairos Fate Weaver says. Loves casting spells. So do his friends when they hang out with him. And then his spell that he gets shown off, it goes off on an 8, which for him is not hard to achieve, because you just need a 4 on one of the dice. If you get a 4 on one of them, you're fine. You cast it. Easy. Pick a visible enemy unit within 18 inches of this unit to be the target, and then make a casting roll. Pick one of the following effects to apply to the target till the start of your next turn. It cannot use commands. Subtract 1 from hit rolls and wound rolls for the attacks, or subtract 1 from save rolls. All of those are solid. The commands one, again, I don't know how strong that'll be. It'll probably be stronger on some armies that use more commands than others, but it's probably fine. Drop your weapons is really good. -1 to hit and wound is like, oof. Especially, like, remember those cavalry units from Cities of Sigmar that are 4s and 4s? Be 5s and 5s. Like, yeah, that one's that's really good. And then -1 save is just giving your guys that attack it an extra rend, which is also solid. Kairos Fate Weaver is sounding crazy. He sounds really good. Then we have the Gaunt Summoner. 6-up save, 5-inch move, 5 health. Trash. 6-up ward. Not great. Still fine. Melee profile's fine. You got Crit Mortal. It's fine. It's pretty good. I think Crit Mortal's just good in general. It's pretty solid. That's his range, excuse me. His melee is fine. 3s, 1, 2. It's fine. In the deployment phase, you pick a friendly unit that has not been deployed to be the target. The target unit is set up in reserve. In a silver tower, it has now been deployed. Deep Strike. Get ready for another Deep Strike ability. Except this one is on a unit instead of an army rule. Because everybody has something Deep Strike. You can use the Book of Profane Secrets. Pick a friendly unit in the Silver Tower to be the target. Set up the unit on the battlefield wholly within 12 inches of this unit and more than 9 inches from all enemy units. Deep Strike, the unit that you put in reserve. And then he's got a spell. Goes off on a 7. Or a 6 if you're near Kairos, because he adds 1 to casting. Units set up this turn using the Book of Profane Secrets ability can be set up within 18 instead of 12. And more than 7 from enemy units instead of 9. So that makes their charge in, if you're trying to deep strike them to charge something, it makes it a little bit easier for them. That's pretty good. That's fine. He can cast 2 spells. He's a wizard too. He sounds fine. He sounds pretty good. The Curseling of Tzeentch. Very cool model. I don't like his little guy. I don't like his little... What's that line? Was it from Hellboy 2? I'm not a baby, I'm a tumor. That guy grown up. It's him now. 3-up save, fine. No ward. Wizard 2. Everything's a wizard 2 in Tzeentch, I guess. 6 health, fine. 2 control. 5-inch move, standard. Hurled arcane energy. Here's the word flame keyword. So if this wounds something, it will get burned if you choose it to get burned. D6 attacks, 3s, 1 rend, 1 damage. That's fine for range profile. And then his Staff of Tzeentch and the Blazing Sword, 5 attacks, 4s, 1 rend, 2 damage. That's pretty solid melee profile. Disruptor of the Arcane. Each time this unit unbinds a spell, roll a dice on a 4+, subtract 1 from the power level of the enemy wizard that used that spell ability to a minimum of 0. This is wild. If you're casting something with like a level 2 or 3 wizard, and he unbinds the first one, they don't get to cast anymore. That's pretty good. Yeah. Wild. And then he's got a spell that goes off on a 5, on a 4 near Kairos. Until the start of your next turn, add one of the rend and damage characteristics of the Staff of Tzeentch and the Blazing Sword. That's fine. So it'd be instead 2 rend, 3 damage. That's pretty It's not bad. I'm sure there'll be spells to make him even like hit better and stuff too. That's pretty good. So he can do both. He can do some range. He can do some close up. It is rude, isn't it, Bean Juice? Yeah, Curseling. Little dingus. We got the pink horrors, classic. 6-up save, trash. 6-up ward, okay. 2 health, 6 move. Arcane Flames, 2 attacks, force 4s, no rend, 1 damage. Word Flame, decent. Word Flame. Talent, trash melee. Pretty trash melee. It's like on par, I guess, with the Cities of Sigmar basic you did. I guess. I think it's the same. The passive, Lunatic Demise. Each time a model in this unit is slain before removing the model from play, pick one of the following effects. Split. Pick a friendly blue horrors and brimstone horrors unit within 12 inches of this unit. Return 2 slain blue horrors to that unit. Or pick an enemy unit in combat to be the target and roll a dice. On a 4+, you do immortal damage. This kind of is shit compared to what they do now. If I'm remembering right, the split used to be every time a model died, you just get 2 blue horrors. Instead of having to be near a unit of blue horrors, you would just get blue horrors on top of the ones you already have, which was good. Now that's a little bit worse. It's still fine, I guess, if you keep them near dudes, but the split sounds These are fine. These sound fine. Pink horrors, same as always. I love that guy, the Changeling. He's cool. Zinj sounds really good. Zinj sounds really, really good, I think, personally. Their burning thing is going to be powerful, and those Destiny dice are going to be oppressive. If you play 40k, it's basically just miracle dice from the sisters on crack a little bit, because you get so many all at once. And I'm assuming they didn't show off anything that's going to give you more. I'm assuming there's something that will give you more. There's got to be at least one that does, which would be a lot to deal with, but that's fine. They sound good. I think they sound really good. All right, I'm probably gonna do one more and then get off. I'm yapping too much. I was gonna do all of them, but there's so many left. We still have fucking 11 of them to go. It's fine. This should be already here. They came out today. I haven't read it, but this should be up. I don't know. Maybe the button just doesn't work. Maybe it will on later ones. So we're going to do ogres, and I'm probably going to go. I'm building ogres right now. Because I like ogres. Look at that beef. Look at this beefy man. Look at these dudes. Neat. I think they're cool. Yeah, basically ogres, they're not just dudes. They're ogres, obviously. They're really, really big. They're really, really fat. They love to eat. That's their whole thing, is they love to eat. They love to eat meat. They really like meat. They'll eat each other. They'll eat humans. They don't care. They'll just eat meat. And they're being chased by an eternal blizzard. So there's a blizzard chasing them forever that they don't want to catch up to them. So they're running away from it. They're cool. Look at them. They use like cannons and shit. They ride these massive guys. I don't like the brown fur. Usually they have like white fur because they're ice. They're in the Everwinter. So usually like white fur stuff. I don't like the brown paint scheme. It's fine. Very cool. See, this is what I mean. This looks way better. The white and the blue. I think it looks way better. These things are crazy in the current edition. Battle traits, short and sweet. They get very little army rules, which is not a good thing. Wow. Compared to all that yapping that Zinch did, this is a lot less. Any charge phase, so every charge phase, you got trampling charge. Pick a friendly ogre or Rhinox unit that charged this turn to use this ability. Then pick a visible enemy unit within 1 inch of it to be the target. Roll a d3. On a 2+, inflict an amount of mortal damage on the target equal to the roll.
It used to be, from what I understand, I'm just getting into building ogres, but from what I understand, they used to do a lot more mortals when they charge stuff. So this is kind of a downgrade, but also there's a lot less mortal wounds in general going on in 4th edition, so I don't know, we'll have to see. It sounds fun. Charging, big damage. Cool. You have a passive. Add 2 to run rolls for friendly ogre units while you have not used the Feast on Flesh ability this battle. Which the Feast on Flesh is this. 2 to run sucks. It should just be 2 to move. I don't know why you'd run them. Unless they have run and charge, which I doubt they have that. But that's fine. Whatever. Who cares? Once per battle sucks. Sucks. End of any turn. Pick each friendly ogre unit that is in combat or use the fight ability this turn to be the targets. Roll a d3 for each target. On a 2+, you heal X, where X is an amount equal to the roll. Solid. You're healing a bunch. And pick an enemy unit in combat with the target. You cannot pick the same enemy unit more than once. Sucks. Inflicted amount of mortal damage on that unit equal to the roll. I think you should be able to pick the same thing a couple times at least. Like twice. Maybe twice. What is it going to be? Maximum 6? Once per battle. If it was like every turn, alright, yeah, it would pick it once.
Maximum 6
once per battle?
If it was like every turn, alright, yeah, it would pick it once. Once per battle, you can pick it twice.
But I think it's fine. I wish it wasn't once per battle.
But I think it's fine. I wish it wasn't once per battle.
I don't know. I think it's fine. I think that could be really swingy if you're healing a bunch, because everybody heals and it's just doing flat
could be really swingy if you're healing a bunch, because
Possibly,
everybody
you have to
heals
roll a
and it's
D3
just
for it.
doing.
I don't
flat
like the chance of
rolls
failing
across the
it
board.
for it being once
Possibly,
per battle.
you have to roll a D3 for it. I don't like the chance.
I think it should
failing
automatically
for it
go
being
off
once per battle.
since it's once per battle.
I think it should automatically go off since it's once per battle.
But I think it's fine. And then their battle formation.
But I think
So
it's
cool.
fine.
Brutal Stock Beast
And then
Handlers.
their battle
Each time a
formation.
friendly Beast Claw Raiders
cool.
monster uses
Brutal
the
Stock
trampling
Beast
charge
Handlers.
ability,
Each
so the
time
one
a
that does
friendly
mortals
Beast Claw
on
Raiders
charge.
monster uses the trampling charge
Add
ability.
1 to the
one
amount
that
of
does
mortal
mortals
damage
on charge.
inflicted, if any. I don't like
add
the if any.
1 to the amount of mortal damage inflicted.
But that's
if
pretty good.
any.
You know, that changes
like
the
the if
3
any.
mortal damage to 4, which is not
That's pretty
significant.
good. You know, that changes the 3 mortal damage to
From
4.
what I ogres
which
have
is
always
not
just been like big
insignificant.
damage the army, so that's
From
like
what I-
fine.
ogres
That's
have always
pretty
just
cool.
been like big damage.
I think
to
that'll be
the
good.
army.
I think it'll be
so that's
fine.
like fine. That's pretty
I don't
cool.
know. We'll have to see.
I think that'll
Again,
be good.
like
I think
we don't
it'll
have
be fine.
points or anything.
I don't know.
These could all
have to
massively go
see.
down in
Again,
points
like,
because
we don't have points
they're
or
not
anything.
doing nearly as much damage.
These could all
in their
massively go
charges
down in
like you would
points
expect
because
them to in the
they're
current
not doing
edition.
nearly as much
Try now,
damage
like
in
this
their
guy,
charges like you would
Frost
expect
Lord
them to in the current edition.
on
Try now,
Rock
like this guy
is
Frost
460 points.
on Rock.
So he is
Horn
like a
is
fourth.
460 points.
He is almost a fourth of
So
your
he is
entire
like
army.
A fourth.
This one dude.
He is almost
But he
a
does
fourth
fuck.
of your entire army.
He does a ton of
This
damage.
one dude. But he does fuck.
So it's a fair trade-off.
He does a ton of damage.
But he's still a fourth of your army currently.
So it's a fair
But it sounds like
trade-off.
he's going to be doing less.
But he's still a fourth of your army.
So
currently.
I guess we'll just have to see.
But it
We don't
sounds
have
like he's
points and
gonna be doing
everything.
less.
And obviously we're going to have
So I guess
more
we'll just have to see.
sub
We don't have
factions.
points and
And
everything.
hopefully
And obviously
maybe
we're gonna have
more
more
rules each.
Sub-factions.
Some of these are really light. Like
Hopefully,
this is
maybe
really
more
light. on the
rules
army.
each. Some of these
Versus,
are really
like,
light.
Skaven,
Like this is
who has
really
like a
light. on
huge
the army.
thing, like we saw, or
Versus,
like a bunch of people have like.
Skaven, who has, like,
they're
a
just
huge
yapping on
thing,
forever, but
like we
these
saw, or, like a bunch of
very
people have
light.
like. they're
I guess
just
it just
yapping on
adds into the
forever,
Unga
but
Bunga
these-
thing. Like they've always
very
kind of been
light.
Unga Bunga.
I
but
guess it just adds into the
it's fine.
Unga Bunga thing. Like they've
This is
always
fine.
kind of been
I think
Unga
that
Bunga,
one's pretty good,
but
especially if you're bringing a lot of the
it's fine.
beasties. They're pretty good.
This is fine. I think that
this
one's
is a
pretty
prayer.
good, especially if you're bringing a lot of the.
I haven't looked at a
beasties,
prayer
they're
in a
pretty
while.
good. This
Prayers
is a prayer.
in Age of Sigmar 4th
Maybe looked
edition.
at a
You
prayer
have
in a while.
priests chant a prayer,
Prayers in
and you roll
Age
a
of Sigmar 4th
d6,
edition.
and that
have
gives you
priests chant a
chanting
prayer,
points,
and you roll a d6,
power points, whatever
and
you
that
call
gives
them.
you
and
chanting
you can either
points,
use them on the
power
prayer.
points, whatever you call them.
Like this one goes off on
and
a
you can
4,
either
so if you
use
roll
them
5,
on
you
the
can use
prayer,
all 5 to cast this
Like
prayer
this one
right
goes
now.
off on a 4, so
Or
if
you
roll
can
5,
save
you
them,
can use all
because
5
every
to
prayer
cast
has
this
the
prayer
lower,
right now.
weaker
Or
version,
you can
and
save
then the
them,
higher,
because every
more
prayer
powerful
has
version.
the lower,
So this
weaker
one,
version,
you can pick,
and
and
then
it's
the
unlimited,
higher,
so you can
more
have as many
powerful version.
priests
So this one,
chant
you can
this one
pick-
as you
and it's
want.
unlimited, so you
To
can have
all
as
add
many
in, I don't know if it all
priests
adds into the same
chant
pool or
this
if
one
each
as you
individual
want.
has their own pool.
To
I
all
would have
add
to
in,
read.
I don't know if it
know.
all
I'm
adds
not
into
gonna
the
pretend
same
like I know
pool
I'm
or
a
if each
casual
individual
player.
has their own
Who cares?
pool. I would have to read. I don't
You
know.
pick a
I'm
priest,
not
and
gonna
then you
pretend
pick a
like I know I'm
terrain
casual
feature
player.
within 18
Who
inches
cares?
of them, and then you
pick
make a
priest,
chanting roll.
and then you pick a terrain feature
You,
within 18 inches
if it
of
goes
them,
off on a
and
4,
then you make a chanting
you
roll.
place a blizzard token next to the target.
if it
Terrain
goes off
features
on a
that have a
4,
blizzard
You
token
place a
gain the
blizzard token
obscuring
next to the
terrain
target.
ability.
Terrain features
In
that have a
addition,
blizzard
if the
token
chanting
gain
roll
the
was a
obscuring
10 plus,
terrain ability.
Until the start
In
of your
addition,
next
if
turn,
the chanting roll was a
friendly
10
Beast
plus,
Claw Raiders
until the
units
start of your
have
next turn,
Ward 5,
friendly
while they're within
Beast Claw
3 inches of
Raiders
any
units
terrain features that have Blizzard
Ward
token.
5.
The Ward one is going to be better, but these also, it doesn't say anything about these Blizzard tokens going away. And it doesn't say you pick one to give you the Ward. So I think if this one is one that is going to get progressively better as the game goes on. Because if you just start popping Blizzards on like a bunch of terrain, which if you're fighting somebody with a heavily shooting slanted list, this is going to be a nightmare prayer for them because it's obscuring. I forget if that's just harder to hit or if it's you just cannot see them. Nightmare either way. And then if you have stuff on a bunch of things and you do the 5-up ward one after that, all of those give the 5-up ward. So I think this is pretty good. I think I like this. I like that. I think that's good. 5-up ward is also nothing to scoff at. It's not a 6-up. 5-up is pretty good. And then we have Kragnos. Here's the yappin'. Kragnos, I don't like that he's in the Ogres, because he's not just an Ogres. You can use him in any destruction faction. You could bring him with Gitz if you wanted, for example. So it's weird that Ogres are losing a slot for War Scrolls for him. It's fine, regardless. He sounds like an absolute monster to deal with. 4-up save, fine. He's got a 5-up ward, hard to kill. 18 health, 10-inch move, 15 control. You're not controlling a point if he's on it. If he's on it, it's just that's yours. It's your objective now. It's your points. His combat profile is heavy. 6 attacks, 3s and 2s, 3 rend, 4 damage each is like... Get out of here, infantry unit. You're dead now. 3 attacks, 4s, 2s, 2 damage, D3, crits or 2 hits. That's also solid. Again, don't like the D3 thing, but it's fine. And then 6 attacks, 3s, 2s, 1. He's just going to cleave anything he's near. He's going to sit on a point. And anything that comes to challenge that point, he is just going to clear. Or he's going to run at a point and take it. Solid. His thing goes down to 4, so it goes down by 2 attacks if he's damaged, which is hard. He's got a reaction. Opponent declared a spell ability. He's got the shield in violet. If this unit was picked to be the target of that spell, roll a dice. On a 3+, ignore the effect of that spell on this unit. This unit can use this ability more than once per phase, but only once per spell. So if somebody's casting the same spell over and over again, he can only use it on the same spell once. But if they're just trying to tap him with a million spells, he can use it on each different spell. 3+ is good. I think that's good. That's pretty solid. Even harder to deal with him now. He's got a passive, Avatar of Destruction. If this unit would be automatically destroyed, it is not automatically destroyed. Instead, allocate 6 damage points to it. Ward rolls cannot be made for those damage points. So we know that there's going to be at least one ability that automatically destroys a unit. Nagash, they showed him off. Not in any of these, but he got shown off in a different article. He's got an ability where, I think it's you put a die in one of your hands, and you switch them around, and then you hold out your 2 hands like this, and you say, pick one to your opponent. And they pick one, and you show off. And if they pick the one with the die in it, I forget if the unit automatically is destroyed or if they're fine. It's one or the other. One of the hands does one, the other hand, they're fine. But he does that every turn. So you can't do that to him because it's just going to do 6 damage to him, which isn't insignificant, but it's still... that makes sense. It makes sense you can't automatically destroy. Then once per turn, any charge phase, you can Rampaging Destruction. If this unit charges phase, pick one of the following effects. Roll a dice for each enemy unit within an inch of this unit. On a 2+, inflict an amount of mortal damage equal to the roll. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. And then pick an enemy monster in combat with this unit and roll 2d6. On a 7, this ability has no effect. Otherwise, inflict an amount of mortal damage on that unit equal to the results on the dice used for the 2d6 roll multiplied together. For example, a 2d6 roll of 2 and 6 would inflict 12 mortal damage. So as long as you don't roll a 7, you're doing multiplicative mortal damage on a monster. That's insane. That's just goodbye, monster. Multiplicative damage. Oh, I rolled a 5 and a 5. Here's 25 mortal damage. God forbid you get a 6 and a 6. 36, it's just dead. Whatever it is just dead. That's crazy. That is a crazy, insane ability. Then he's got a passive. Add one of the number of dice rolled when making charge rolls for friendly destruction units while they're wholly within 12 inches of him to a maximum of 3. So your ogre's going to be charging with 3 dice instead of 2 if they're near him. Kragnos is an absolute beast. I don't have Kragnos. I don't even really like the look of Kragnos as a model. I don't really like him. Let me see if I can like pull up an image of Kragnos. I don't really like the look of the model. He's not my thing. Like, I don't know, he's fine. I don't really like centaurs, though. He's kind of weird looking. I don't really like him. But this is crazy. All of this is insane. He's gonna be a lot of points, but he's gonna be worth those points, I have a feeling. And then we've got Huskered on Stonehorn. So that's, what are they, a priest? Yeah, they're a priest. So they can chant that one prayer that we've seen. There's going to be other prayers they can chant too, because everybody's going to have like a lore of prayers and spells. They're just showing off one per. 10-inch move, 4-up save, 14 health, 10 control. This is a very control-heavy army, I'm getting the sense. They're going to sit on objectives and hold them, or charge into you and take them. Does it have a ward? Doesn't have a ward. 4-up save isn't bad. It's not great, though. I'm sure there's ways to make it better, though. And you can heal him with that ability and everything, too. You're going to pick one of these ranged weapons on it. None of them are crazy. None of them are particularly good, admittedly. This one's fine against monsters, but the rest of them are just okay, I would say, personally. This trash punches and kicks, why even bother? Stonehorns, rock hard horns, though. 6 attacks, 4s, 2s, 3 damage, and if it charges 4 damage, is crazy. That's crazy. That's a lot of damage. It's a lot of damage off of, like, a melee attack. 6 of them, too. It's a lot. And then his hooves, D6 attacks, 4s, 2s, 1 D3. Don't like D3 damage, but that's fine. This goes down to 4 attacks if he's damaged, down to 4 health. At that point, who cares? His passive, Stone Skeleton. Ignore the first damage point that would be allocated to this unit each phase. So if he gets shot, he gets to ignore a damage point, and then in fighting, he gets to ignore a damage point as well. Then he's got a once per turn, any combat phase, every combat phase, Everwinter's Goad. Pick each friendly and enemy monster within this unit's combat range to be the targets. Roll a die for each target on a 3+. If the target is a friendly Ogor Mawtribes unit, its companion weapons have crit 2 for the rest of the turn. So this is a companion weapon. This crazy high damage profile is a companion weapon. If you have another one of these near this, on any 6s, it's now 2 hits instead of 1. Insanity. You could potentially, this is never going to happen, but if you rolled 6 6s, you now have 12 potentially 4 damage things going through. Big ups. Unga Bunga gonna curb stomp your army with damage is basically ogres. If the target is an enemy unit, subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made by its companion weapons. That's kind of... Well, big things, it's going to matter. Because, like, these guys, for example, these are his companion attacks. If it's -1 to hit with, like, their big attacks, that's actually kind of significant. But, like, a mounted unit, like a cavalry unit, that's just nothing, basically. So if you're fighting, like, a big guy, that's pretty cool. If you're fighting a small guy, He's a priest one, so he can chant 1 prayer. I think they sound good. I think the Stonehorn's staying winning. That's crazy, the melee profile on it. Ogre Gluttons, your basic... Look at them. They're just like me. Your basic troop unit for them. They come in 6s. 6-inch move, kind of... That's fine, I guess, for a foot thing. 5-up save is trash. No ward. 5-up save...
trash. 4 health each, though. So that's what? 6 times 4 is 24? That's total of 24 health you gotta get through, but it's not gonna be hard with that 5-up save. They have their weapons, so there's 6 of them. So it's gonna be 24 attacks, 4s, 2s, 1 Ren, 2 damage. That's high for a basic troop unit, is 2 damage. That's pretty high. That's a good damage potential they've got. I think that'd be fun. And then they only have 1 passive, which is kind of But if you've used the Feast on Flesh ability this battle, add 1 to the control score of this unit for each model. So they go from 2 control each to 3. So it goes from 12 control to 18 control for a full unit of them. That's significant. This army really, really seems like it wants to get on points and hold them, or just chug-a-lug on up and take the points they're already sitting on. Which I think is fun. I think that sounds like a lot of fun. I know a lot of people have been kind of like talking shit about ogres, being like, oh, they're trash. No. I think that sounds kind of fun. I'm kind of into the idea. But we'll see. We'll see how good they end up being. I don't know. Obviously, a lot can change. I think it sounds fun, though. Competitive? Who knows? Who cares? I don't know. There's like 100 people in the world that play tournaments. There's no reason to get mad about competitive stats. I think they sound fun. And then we've got one more. We got the Gorger Maw Pack. This is a Warcry warband, by the way, for the ogres. So you have to buy the Warcry box to get these. 6 up save, trash. No ward, absolute trash. These things are going to melt. They do have 5 health each, though, which I guess is fine. There's 5 of them, according to this. 6-inch move, 2 control. That's 25 health total, but the 6s, you're going to cleave through that eventually. And then 5 attacks each, 4s, 2s, 1 Ren, 2 damage. Anti-infantry, so it's 2 Ren, possibly on infantry. 25 attack. You're going to cleave through something with it. And then guess what we have? Deep Strike. More Deep Strike. Troglodytic Lurkers. Pick this unit if it has not been deployed. Set this unit up in reserve, lurking on the fringes. It's now been deployed. And then on your movement phase, you can declare this unit if it's lurking on the fringes. Set up this unit on the battlefield, wholly within 9 inches of a battlefield edge. That kind of sucks. 9 inches from the edge kind of sucks. I guess like if your opponent has dudes in the back doing stuff, it's like a Zinch with like the spellcasters back here, or like a shooting army with dudes back here. That'd be pretty good. But outside of that context, that's just bad. It's just deep striking from a board edge, which is fine. The damage their output they can do is high. That's like potentially a lot of like fuck you damage. Yeah, they sound fine. I don't like the saves on them. I don't like that. You can heal them using that big ability. Yeah, I don't know. They sound fine. They sound good. I'll probably pick some up. Like that sounds fun. The like troglodytic lurker thing. That sounds fun. I'll probably pick some up. I don't know. Sound good. Overall, that's ogres. They sound fine. A lot of people were like poo-pooing it, and people started panic selling them. Hence why I started buying ogres, because they were getting panic sold. So I picked a bunch of them up for cheap, which is fun. Yeah, I don't know. I think they sound fun. They sound kind of like an Unga Bunga, like high damage, high control, not complicated rules, run up, kill, hold, like is kind of their bag, which sounds fun, especially compared to a lot of the other ones that seem more complicated. Like, I could see a casual table having fun with ogres, just enjoying, like, not having to think as much about a lot of what you're doing, which is cool. I don't know. But yeah, I am tired now from all that. We're going to cover Flesh Eater Courts next time. We'll get to the rest of these. I'm going to do this again sometime soon. We'll do the rest of these when I do this again sometime soon. Your boy's tired. My throat hurts from yapping for almost 3 hours straight. No break. So, I'm probably going to call it here. We'll remember this. I'm going to make a note. I'm writing it down. I'm writing it down. Flesh Eater Courts. Next. Okay. We're doing Flesh Eater Courts next time. We'll start with them next. Yeah, overall, out of the ones we've looked at, I think Zinch is definitely going to be the biggest problem child out of all of them. They're pretty nuts. I think Zinch is going to be really nuts. And then I think they all sound fun, though.
Like, I don't think there's any that I'm like particularly like, oh, like how bad, blah 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 blah. Like, I think they all sound fine. I don't know. Like, obviously we don't know everything too. Like, we don't know what a vast majority of every unit is going to be. We don't know what points are going to be. Like, I don't know. There's a lot that we're still speculating about. So I don't know. We'll just have to see. We'll have to see what all happens. What all else other information. I think Tzeentch sounds the strongest out of all of them. I think Night Haunt is a slight improvement if nothing else. I was kind of angry about it when it first came out, but now rereading it again, I think there's some potential there. All of them sound fun though. All of them sound like a good time. Stormcast, I don't know. This Deep Strike thing being most of your army rules kind of, but you have Finest Hour every turn. That's pretty good. Like, that's pretty good, admittedly. Like, I feel like you're gonna have some fun with that. Skaven have their same high risk, high reward. Like, you might blow yourself up, but you might fuck them up too. I like that. That's fun. I like the shift. I don't like the Rat Ogres out of them, but everything else is cool. The Gits, I think they sound fun. They have a lot of goofy rules, as much as you'd expect from, like, mushroom-crazed goblins. Cities of Sigmar, their orders, like, it's definitely a hero. They feel like, that feels like a military. It feels flavorful. It feels like a military. You have your officer, and then they're commanding some units, and they're going to do the special thing. That sounds good. I like that. That sounds flavorful. That sounds fun. I hope that Cities of Sigmar players have fun with that. Karajan Overlords, boats. That's what they're advertised as, mostly. Sounds fun. Doesn't sound like anybody else is getting transports or anything like that. So that sounds like a good time to me. Tzeentch sounds crazy. That just sounds like, not only are we going to be competitive, that just sounds fun. Fate, Destiny dice, and all that stuff. Burning. Sounds good. Ogres, like, it's just, we're just stomping. I'm hopeful. It sounds a lot simpler than 3rd edition, but I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be a good time. I don't know. Here's hoping. We'll just have to see how it all goes. I don't know. We'll just have to see. I'm hopeful. I'm hoping that it's going to be a good time. But yeah, let me know what you all think. Either, I don't know, wherever. Twitter, Instagram, whatever. Let me know what you all think there. Probably going to wrap it up, though, because your boy is tired. I've been yapping for a long, long time about Age of Sigmar. I'll definitely come back in the next few days and do more of these. I've enjoyed going through them and, like, actually reading them. I haven't read most of them, like, all the way through. I've skimmed some of them, and I've read the ones that only pertain to me. But I haven't, like, fully read them, a lot of them. So it's been nice going through and, like, kind of figuring that all out. I've enjoyed it. I hope you all have too. I hope it's been at least somewhat informative. I'll probably play games and stuff sometime soon too. Now that I'm back and have more time, I had to leave because I got in a rut of having like 4 jobs at the same time, and I was working 6 to 7 days a week. I'm not doing that anymore. So hopefully that I now will have more energy and time to do more streaming, because I do enjoy it and I missed it while I haven't been doing it. But yeah, I appreciate everybody that came out. I hope everybody had a good time and learned something. We're gonna learn more next time together. But yeah, thank you all. I will see you next time.